Well, good morning, everybody. Happy Monday. Ben and Woods, 97.3 The Fan. Great to be back here with all of you, all our beloved Tier 1s. This morning, on a Monday morning, it feels very early. The time change is messing with me, as it always does. And we're maybe three of the only people in America that don't like, really, the time change because, well, it costs us an hour of sleep, throws everything out of whack. But listen, we're going to grind through it. That's what we do. That's what we do best. I'm Woodsy. That's Paul Reindl. He is the executive producer of this program. He's also the imaging director of the station. Good morning, Paulie.
Good morning. I have found that the saving time change, it always gets me the next day.
Today.
Yeah. Like
Yesterday was fine.
I didn't make any difference at all yesterday.
Nope. No, we had a game, so we got up. You were like fired up to go play ball.
Yeah.
Paulie's our leading hitter, by the way, on the Tier 1 team. We could talk about that in a little bit. I've got a message to the Tier 1 team as well that I'd like to deliver at some point, maybe here in the open. It's loosely based on Moneyball. Loosely. I think my message would be, is losing fun?
What are you having fun for?
Is losing fun? What are you having fun for? That's what losing sounds like. That's what losing sounds like. And then I take something and then I throw it out of the room. I'm over it. It's 2 in a row. Tier 1 baseball team.
Get out.
Yeah, get out.
Is losing fun?
It's my favorite part of the movie.
Is losing fun?
Listen up, fellas.
What are you having fun for? That's what losing sounds
That's
like.
exactly right. Hope everybody got the message. Show up ready to play baseball on Sunday. 2 games in a row we've lost. I don't know that I've ever lost 2 adult league games back-to-back in my entire life. So this is hard for me. So I'm dealing with it in the way that I know how. Rage and fury. Ben Higgins, your friendly neighborhood sports anchor, joins us as well. You'd probably be a much kinder, gentler guiding hand of the Tier 1s if you were managing the team.
Good morning. I don't think I've ever waited 3.5 minutes to be introduced on this show, but it is dark. My goodness,
Sucks, dude.
this morning it happens every year, but here we are.
Yeah,
and
pitch black out there.
Feel like you need to bring a little extra energy on this morning for everybody who is struggling getting up, but we feel it out there. I'm sorry that. To write the story of a great season, though, you have to start with some struggles.
You're right.
That are overcome by the end of the season. And, the arc of the, championship ends with triumph at the end after overcoming early difficulties. Do we have any...
If you say so.
Do we have any doubt that the Padres arc, if it's a good one, is going to kind of look like that this year?
There's too many comparisons already between our team
it's identical.
and the 2023 Padres.
Yeah, let's see. Game 1, we scored 16 runs. The next 2 games, we've combined for 4. So you tell me. Nick, Baseball Nick, who's our first baseman, came in yesterday. He goes, look, I know we all love the Padres, but we need to stop playing like them. I said, absolutely right. My boy Jimmy Maxwell is in the chat. Jimmy hit a tank off of us yesterday. He calls us now the Tier 1s, T-E-A-R. And it makes it hurt even worse.
Ouch.
It makes it hurt way, way worse. It sucked. It sucked. I was fuming about it all day. I don't know why. I really don't know why, but that's just how I roll, I guess. They brought in a kid, Benny, that pitched at Cal State San Marcos. He threw the last 3 innings. What'd you say, Paulie? About 85? 85 with a slider and a split. Yeah. Just like, bro, this is supposed to be an old man league. It's not. It's some good competition. But listen, man, we're going to right the ship. That is a promise. We're going to right the ship, get it back to our winning ways.
Sounds like your baseball game went as well as my golf match against Steve Sugimoto on Saturday morning.
Number 1, it wasn't a match. Okay, so we need to address the massive elephant in the room.
Mano a mano, me versus Steve.
So if you guys are listening to the program, you've heard Ben say over the last. Now, Steve Sugimoto was our NIL sponsored golfer at San Diego State, Tier 1. We love him very much. He's supposed to come in at some point this week and hang out
before he leaves for Japan, where he's qualified for the Japan tour this year.
Yeah, the Japan tour. Now that is a tour
pro
made
tour.
up of what? Professionals.
Right. Well, at the third highest level, like most money tour in the world.
Right. So
you got to be pretty damn good.
Yeah.
to qualify
I know.
and get
he's,
on
he's
that
great.
tour.
He's fantastic.
Okay.
So we go out Saturday morning, 6:09 tee time. Me, Ben, our buddy, the Hillbilly Foster, and Steve Sugimoto. And I instantly said, you ride with Steve, Ben, and I'm going to ride with the Hillbilly because I need a hype man. And Foster's a hype man. Hey, that's a nice swing. Hey, I know you barely hit it, but that's a good swing. Good tempo. I need a hype man when I play golf. And he's
Especially after your first tee shot went directly
my first two. My first two.
Right, but way up in the air, too.
100 feet. It
Like
went,
into the parking lot at Encinitas Ranch, which is not anywhere near the first tee.
I was in hell.
Paul's thinking, how do you hit one into the parking lot from the first tee at Encinitas Ranch?
You got to go directly
You
right.
have to go high and right,
High and right.
over the cart barn and somewhere into the parking lot. Foster
that big
immediately
water
goes,
tower?
That's my car right
Yeah.
there that you're going for, right there.
Well, at least I'm not delusional. I know my limitations, and they are vast when it comes to the game of golf. Paulie, this dude over here, number one, he's trying to take Sugimoto out of his game all day.
Which I don't like that. He's getting ready for a pro
He's
tour.
getting ready for the tour. Maybe that's good training, getting him ready. There was one point, I ask you not. Sugimoto hits the ball right down the middle, 325 yards. He hits his second shot, and Ben goes, oh, it's probably a little longer than you wanted. It hits the thing and spins back to 4 feet.
Yeah,
I'm crying laughing. Like, oh, that's a little far.
I said a
Pew!
little long. Well, that was a little long until you spun it back to exactly the right distance, but it was a little long in the air.
Just to be clear,
It was so good.
perhaps we have some new listeners to the Ben and Woods program, and maybe you're not familiar with Ben's trash talking on the golf course.
It is
It never stops.
It never stops.
And Ben is good at golf.
He's good.
Now, Steve Sugimoto is great at golf.
Correct.
Ben is good at golf.
It's so good.
And, me or Woods, some idiots out there, will chunk one, and Ben will just go, that's not what you wanted to do.
It's unbelievable. He'll laugh at you. You're like, huh. This is why I ride with Foster now. And I said, so we finish up. The kid is.
Might want to hit your 7-iron there
I didn't have a
instead.
great front nine, but I started out the back well. In fact, through the first 3 holes of the back nine, I was one up on Steve.
Ben, that doesn't. Like, I've beaten him on a hole.
Right.
It
Well,
doesn't
it's
mean.
3 holes. And,
3 holes.
I
There's 15
I did
more.
mention the fact as we headed to the 13th tee. He immediately proceeded to birdie 5 of the last 6 holes to shoot a 65. Like, he birdied 9 of the 18 holes, shot the easiest 65 I have ever seen in my life.
The only 65 I've ever seen.
He didn't even play that well, and he shot a 65. And granted, Encinitas Ranch, easy ranch for a pro. It's not a tough course. Every hole's pretty much a birdie hole for Steve Sugimoto, but his game was so dialed in those last few holes. He is one of the best, especially like iron players I've ever seen. His distance control.
Unreal.
It's Scotty Scheffler like.
Dude, I'm telling you, it's unreal.
The guy's putting the ball into 4 or 5 feet constantly. He told us the other day at the Heights, his home club, he shot a 61 and didn't make a putt outside of 5 feet. Everything was like a 3-foot tap in the entire round. It's incredible.
So we finish up at 18. It's my only par of the day. I was so elated. Finished with a nice par. And I'm feeling good. Like, all right, this will get me back in the groove. We walk off the green after Sugimoto's 65. And Ben goes, well, probably wasn't going to happen today because he didn't have his worst day and I didn't have my best. And I screamed at Ben. I go, it's never going to happen, ever. You're never going to beat him.
I mean, he could. Last time we played out there, I shot a 73.
Never.
If I had played my best
Never.
and he had a worse day, we could have been very
Ben,
close.
if I was
That's
playing...
still 8 strokes.
Right, but that wasn't. I mean, he had a good day at the end.
His bad day is even par.
And
If
I
I
can
was
shoot
playing
even par on a really
one-on-one,
good day.
one-on-one against an NBA player, there's a
No
chance
chance.
I could
No
create
chance.
separation
Get one
and
bucket.
chuck up a desperation shot and
bucket.
get 1 bucket. There's 0% chance that I could beat him first 1 to 10.
If Sugimoto lost a leg, he would still beat you. He's that good. Listen, this is what I'm saying to you. It's okay. He's a pro. He's 25 years younger than you. He gets mad when Steve outdrives him. I'm like, of course he's going to outdrive you. Of course he's going to whip your ass up and like that kid yesterday that pitched against us. He would have K'd me up on 3 pitches. And you know what I wouldn't have said? I wouldn't have said, well, if he had just hung that slider, I would have bound it. No. He's good. I'm bad. He's young. I'm old.
Whether I beat him or not.
You're not going to beat
It's
him.
not.
Ever.
It's a not.
It's never going to happen.
Just say not.
I feel like I'm driving the kid to excellence. I'm motivating him. I've lit a fire under him. He played some great golf. He is going to take that with him and have a fantastic season on tour this year. That's what I'm hoping for.
I think that you need medication for your delusion. I've never seen anything like it. I have never. When he said it at the end, I just turned and looked at him. I go, "It's never gonna happen. It's never gonna happen." So stop asking. Steve was amazing. It was so much fun to see him. Such a great.
I'm not going to, so quit asking.
Yeah, Ben, will you ever beat Steve Sugimoto?
I'm not going to, so quit asking.
Yeah. It's so, and he's just like, his head's in the clouds going, well, if I had just done this right, I would have gotten it. And I thought to myself after, I go, I'm so glad he said that because there's our open for Monday morning. But we did have a great, great time. It was beautiful, beautiful, beautiful day out there, getting to hang out together. But it was amazing. And yes, Rafa says, now Ben is taking credit for the great season Steve is going to have. Well, listen, it does, as Yeti just points out as well, the copium does help you get through the baseball season. It definitely helps you get through the baseball season. We will talk about the upcoming baseball season. Certainly today, not a great game for the Padres yesterday. Still working some things out in spring training and whatnot. But we can get to a couple more concerns for this team. A team full of a lot of guys on the fringe, really the fringes of Major League Baseball players, but also the fringes of this roster. What it's going to look like, all of the above.
But I think what everyone is waiting for, we're not going to make you wait very long because when we come back, not only will we hand out the menus for the show, but we are going to reveal the field of 32 drops.
Here we go.
For this year's Tournament of Drops, the 5th annual Ben & Woods Tournament of Drops. Those are our sound bites that Paulie plays throughout the show. And we have fairly strict rules. So these are only new drops that we've collected over the last 12 months. Some will sound pretty old because 12 months is a long time.
Well, some will sound really old because they are several years old, but we just added them to the show in the last year.
Right. Yeah, they're based on when they're added to our show's library of drops.
Correct.
When Paulie started
You'll
using
hear
them.
Stuff, maybe you heard it in the Padres wrap-up open or the Reindl Report or a Don't Do This open, as well as Ben drops. There's a lot of Ben content.
But Paulie put together the field. I carefully seeded and bracketed all of them. And when we come back, we are going to reveal the entire field of 32. And then later in the show, we'll have our first 4 matchups from the first quadrant, the first region. Let's go. And we will put up the voting, the votes. You can make your own selections. But the field of 32 for the 5th annual Tournament of Drops revealed. Coming up next as we get started on a Monday morning. Glad to have everybody with us. We were playing golf at this time 2 days ago. It is pitch black still outside this morning on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. Let's see how the dark traffic looks out there with Kelly Danick. My goodness, in just a little over 2 days, Padres will be on that plane to Korea. So a lot of decisions are going to need to be made in the next 48 hours by A.J. Preller and Mike Schilt. First of all, the 31 guys they're taking with him to Korea, and then the official 26-man roster for the 2 games against the L.A. Dodgers. We'll definitely be getting into that this morning, early in the show today, coming up in our 6:35 segment. Had a couple of games over the weekend. Friday was rained out, but Padres.
That was nasty.
Yeah.
I mean, it looked torrential out there. I felt so bad for all the people that drove out there.
Dude, there was a lot of people.
A lot
out
of
there
people
the
I knew.
last
Yeah.
weekend out
against
there.
the Giants. That was definitely a signature game that got lost on Friday.
100%. You drive all the way out to Peoria, 6-hour drive, and you get there, you're ready for some Padres baseball, and you're like, oh, cool. I guess we'll just go to the Cheesecake Factory instead. Maybe some McAllister's Deli. Get a nice loaded baked potato. That'll ease the sting of not going to watch this game on Friday night. It was dumping. Now, 20 miles away in Camelback Ranch, they got their game in, didn't they? The Dodgers game? They played.
They did play some of those games.
Some of those games
Jesse
on
and
Friday.
Bob were talking about it at the start. I watched the webcast on Saturday, and they said, like 10 minutes away, you would have no idea that there were thunderstorms. It was just right over the Peoria Sports Complex.
It's a harbinger of things to come, maybe. So that's all these things are not lining up in our favor.
Every other spring game that night in the Phoenix area,
No problem.
played their games.
Incredible.
Definitely feels like we're getting closer. I mean, the final battles, the third base, what that's going to look like. We'll have an update for you on Manny Machado. There were some Tommy Pham rumors over the weekend
Were
as
there?
well.
I didn't see any.
You didn't see the
no,
Tommy
I didn't
Pham
see any
rumors?
Tommy
Oh, yeah.
Pham rumor. I saw a few people clamoring for
It's
J.D. Davis.
There's definitely been discussions between the Padres and Tommy
Okay.
Pham.
Did not
so
know that.
we will discuss that coming up. Talk some Padres baseball this morning. I want to get into maybe even our 7 o'clock hour. Oscars last night.
Oh yeah,
Paulie and
the
I
Oscars.
watched. You
I
said
did.
you watched some of it.
I watched a lot of it, but then when after bath time's over, we were trying to force the, hey, I know that it's still light outside, but are we still go to bed at the same time bit? And we're hard asses, so we tried to force that bit. So I said, all right, we'll watch a movie until bedtime. What do you want to watch? Hoping they might pick something good, like Killers of the Flower Moon, maybe, or maybe Oppenheimer, one of the nominated movies. No, they went with the Kevin James classic, the Zookeeper. And it's where he's a zookeeper and the animals talk to him. It's really, really excellent.
Sounds riveting.
Yes, you'll hear the voices of Adam Sandler. Sly Stallone makes an appearance as the voice of some animal, and they love it. They love it. So I was watching Kevin James in the Zookeeper while you guys got to see some good stuff. I missed a bunch of it.
Had another excruciating loss for San Diego State on Friday.
Mortifying
to
loss.
end the regular season. They've had a lot of them this year. I mean,
Not at home.
Padres fans, you can what that feels like. Just excruciating losses. First one at home, only loss at home all season.
Watch the whole thing, man.
Certainly likely costing themselves a seed line or two in the NCAA tournament. They were fortunate enough to have Utah State beat New Mexico and keep them out of the 6th seed in the Mountain West tournament, so they won't have to play that extra game. We'll talk about the Aztecs and their postseason in March coming up in conjunction with our Tournament of Drops, which will have our first matchups. We're about to release the Field of 32 coming up in a second. Take on Woods, Don't Do This, our regular features in the 7 o'clock hour. Second half of the show, Tier 1 Tour continues. Texas Rangers, our team in the spotlight today. We will check in with Sammy spring training. He's only got a couple of days left in Peoria. I think he's there through Thursday, through the Prospects game, and then he'll be on his way home, and the Padres will be on their way to Korea. Reindl Report today, and we got a lot to talk about all morning long for sure.
As we usually do, Monday we come in and we just empty the chamber. And tonight I will call Paulie and go, what are we doing tomorrow? A lot of shows will save stuff. I'm incapable of saving
We're
stuff.
not good at it.
I'm incapable of it. Like there's a show in Dallas, a show I grew up listening to. They'd have this massive college football weekend, right? Massive. And they'd come in on Monday and they would talk about other things. They would do
Cowboys.
They would do college football Tuesdays. And I'm like, there's no way I could come in here and not talk about it. Now, granted, they have 100 teams to choose from. So we're really, our Monday show I'll put up against anybody else. And then we're in steep decline until Friday. where we just run out of gas at 8 o'clock.
Would you like to do college football Tuesdays?
No.
I don't think so.
I want to do them on Monday. Yeah. That's what I want to do. I want to do everything on Monday that we did over the weekend.
All right. So it has become a tradition that we started back in the pandemic, 2020.
That's right.
And Polly is so great at collecting all the little sound bites. They're called drops in radio that you hear throughout our shows. And every year we collect new ones.
You're a nerd, too.
Yeah, we collect new ones throughout the year.
That's a drop.
That's a drop.
That's a drop. Just a little soundbite. Goose Gossage. Going to figure prominently. And then we decided, well,
Big bomber class, big bomber in my head.
I mean, let's have the tier ones pick their number one drop for the year. How are we going to do it? Well, let's put it into a bracket like March. We seed them. We put them together. We have them vote online on X on polls, and eventually we whittle the field down to the final drop that will be crowned champion. And the entire process is going to take 2 weeks. We'll have preliminary matchups throughout this week, and then we'll get down to the quarterfinals, semifinals, and the championship next week to crown the 2024 Tournament of Drops champion. But before we do any of that, there were always, some borderline drops throughout the year. They can't all make it. It is time to reveal.
That's the thing. As our show has gone on, we've upped the bar for
the discernment factor.
Yeah,
right.
It's got to be a good drop to get saved and make it onto the board and all of that.
And replayed.
Yep.
So hopefully most of these will sound familiar to the tier ones out there. Without any further ado, the revealing of the field of 32 for the 2024 5th Annual Tournament of Drops.
Hey there, Delilah.
Oh, no, I like it creamy. Ooh. Orgasmic revelation.
Oh, my goodness.
And someone didn't secure their load of gravel.
I like squirt.
Cat pervert.
You're a nerd, too.
I just felt the way that the roster is built, they would have to outscore their opponents to win.
One.
Cancel the parade.
That's why you play the games.
Take a listen.
What up, crew?
Hi, this is Jackson Merrill.
Fister? Yeah, absolutely.
Ooh, a booty. I'm going to have a booty.
Oh, my God, I'm so stiff. Balls bouncing off my chest.
Big bomber class, big bomber in my head.
Beautiful, gorgeous cans. Just the tip.
Ding-ling-ling-ling-ling-ling.
Samfire, plus Queen Gets Go Get It, Queen Draw Box, Lanticilio, Go Go Go.
It's a complete crap.
You can visit Pity City, but you can't live there.
Hey, where's the freaking gabagoo?
I like San Diego State.
Hi, Paul.
There it is. Couple things. If you listen to the Tournament of Drops, you wouldn't even know that I'm on this program, which makes
You didn't
which
appear
makes
once.
which makes sense.
You did not appear once
Now,
this year.
my offspring always.
He's
make
a former
appearances.
champion.
Taylor is?
No.
No,
Bo.
that's Taylor saying
Taylor
D's
said
nuts.
D's nuts.
My offspring make plenty of Tournament of Drops, which I'm fine with. But it also stands to reason because I do nothing for this. Paulie gets the drops. He sends them to Ben. Ben seeds them. Paulie makes the graphic. All I do is just come in and have fun. I love this bit so much. I'm very proud of it. And we always have a great time. So need you on Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it these days, to vote. When we put up the winners, we want to get as many votes as we can. We want this thing to be fair. And go vote for the one you love.
So I divided all 32 drops into 4 regions. And this year, they are somewhat theme-based. The first region is called the explicit region, highlighted by the number 1 seed, Hey There, Delilah. And, there's some double entendres going in the explicit region, to be sure. Our second region is the baseball region, where you have a number of, Padres-related drops.
Self-explanatory.
Yeah, people associated with the organization. The third region is, I called it the anatomy region.
Very well
because body parts galore in the drops of the anatomy region, led by Taylor's D's Nuts as the number 1 seed. Baseball region number 1 seed, by the way, is Goose Gossage.
Oh, yeah.
You're a nerd, too.
You're a nerd, too.
And then the final region, the wild card region, a bit of a catch-all. There's always one of those in the NCAA tournament that, why in the South region are there teams from the Northeast and the West? And, well, they just can't all work in perfectly. So you get a lot of just kind of the random stuff that we collect throughout the year, highlighted by Ding-a-ling-a-ling-a-ling as the number 1 seed in the
What's that
wild card region.
What's that from?
That, I believe, was during a 7 Mile casino read.
That's it.
That's the
Ding-a-ling-a-ling-a-ling-a-ling.
slot machine
That's
sound.
right. That's right. Yeah, this is going to be great, man. It's always tough. Ben does a remarkable job at seating. Moderating panels and seating. If you could find a job that could let you do both, you'd be a billionaire.
He found the job.
I hate to.
This is true. This is
I don't want to influence anyone, but I know we've already had some discussion about potential, low seeds that could pull off some upsets. I see in the chat, Gabagool got a chance for an upset underdog run, according to Yeti. Welsh Friars in there as a 2 seed.
Where's the freaking Gabagoo?
The very long Welsh town name. Got a 2 seed in the wild card region. I know you guys think Big Bumbaclot.
Right. I'm afraid
could be a 6 seed.
Big
that
bomber class, big boss in me head.
a big run in the anatomy region.
I don't know that it will, but it's one of my favorites.
We're always surprised, though. Honestly, we have what we think is going to win. Does it ever actually win the tournament? I don't think it does.
Never.
Last year,
maybe the first year.
Last year was remarkable.
Last year
because
sucked. Juan Soto won.
Juan Soto won.
Good morning, everybody.
That
And
beat
it's the
Adam.
drop that it beats.
Yeah.
Is it extra sweet because this is against the Dodgers?
Like I almost wanted to quit after it. It was like
I was
maybe
furious.
we need to clean
we
house
were
of our listeners.
sure it was going to come down to Adam against Carving Guy.
100%.
And Carving Guy didn't get the kind of love
Did you catch a game last night?
that we expected it was going to get last year. Got knocked out, upset, a couple rounds in, I think.
All right, we're late.
We're late, though. Okay, yeah, we are late. All right, let's get to some Padres talk when we come back. Tommy Pham signing rumors. Final battle for that third base spot because it looks like Manny is definitely DHing to start the season. We'll give you all the updates from the weekend from Peoria, and then we're off and running here. It's Ben Woods on 97.3 The Fan. Busy start of the show. We've already revealed the field for the Tournament of Drops. Paulie, when are we going to reveal the matchups in the explicit region, our first round?
Let's go
selections.
7:35.
All right.
7:35. We will start the voting, and we will bracket up the first 4 matchups, the first 8 seeds from the explicit region. Coming up, let's check traffic. When we come back, we'll get into the Padres weekend. Manny Machado, Tommy Pham rumors. They were definitely out there for sure.
How did I miss these?
You didn't see?
I missed it
you
entirely.
Didn't see this? Were you not reading all of Dennis Lynn last week?
I must have missed. I knew there were rumors last week.
We had some new ones this weekend as well. All right, we'll get to that coming up after a check of traffic on 97.3 The Fan.
From the 97.3 The Fan Traffic Center, here's Kelly Danick.
Starting to heat up on the roads a bit. Got a collision on southbound 5 at the 163. It's over to the right shoulder. Also traveling on northbound 805 before El Cajon Boulevard. Reports of a stalled car in the second lane from the left. And collision on the westbound 54 right at the northbound 805. 2 vehicles in the center divide. I'm Kelly Danick with Ben & Woods, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
All right, Padres, if you read the tea leaves, it really looks like Jackson Merrill is going to be the starting center fielder for the Padres on opening day.
By the way, thank you to Mrs. Merrill, Jackson Merrill's mother, who sent Ben & Woods the official.
Hi, this is Jackson Merrill.
Merrill Madness tea that I am modeling on the YouTube feed right now.
Did that help Jackson Merrill get into the Tournament of Drops? Didn't hurt.
It didn't hurt him. Didn't hurt him one bit.
No. This was decided.
It was already decided before the
true.
T-shirts came?
That's true.
All right, yeah, he's an 8 seed in there. He's definitely in the baseball region of Tournament of Drops. But, yeah, he's playing out there regularly. Seems like the Padres have gotten comfortable with the idea of Jackson Merrill starting the season. Now, in left field, it could be Jurickson Profar. We saw him what was looking like it on Friday was going to be maybe the opening day lineup, like a preview before it got rained out. And he was out there. But there's also talk of still going out and signing Tommy Pham. And the latest rumors over the weekend were that, yes, the talks have been ongoing. But Tommy Pham has been very reluctant to move like an inch on his demands.
I'm shocked, actually.
Yeah, that Tommy Pham values himself and wants to get what he thinks he is valued for. We know this about Tommy Pham, and while other players have started to, cave and sign, Tommy Pham has been unwilling to budge, and A.J. Preller's kind of been unwilling to budge on what they feel like Tommy is worth and what they can afford as they're trying to stay under that luxury tax, it looks like. So,
and Dennis does say in his article, I just picked it up, Benny, at this point, perhaps after the Seoul series. So not,
Well, I mean, they're leaving in 2 days. It would be hard,
it'd be tough
if you signed anyone even today to get them, fully ready to go to get on a plane for Korea to play in the first couple of games. But until he signs somewhere else, it seems like it remains a possibility out there. The other news from the weekend, and I didn't realize this, but apparently Manny Machado got shut down from throwing for a few days. He was throwing when we were out there, a couple of weeks ago at spring training, looking pretty good.
I do not remember that. I saw him hit. I don't remember seeing him throw.
Working that backhand.
Oh yeah, he was throwing. He was doing the throwing.
Throw across the diamond.
And they were being careful with him. They kind of go on every other day. But apparently, basically this last week, he had gotten some soreness, which is to be expected post surgery on the tennis elbow, and because of that, they don't think he's going to be ready to play third base. Certainly not in Korea. Probably, early in the season as well, he'll remain a designated hitter, which means the Padres need to decide on a starting third baseman. And there's been a number of guys who have played pretty well this spring. You could start with the prospect Graham Pauley, who has gotten more work at third base lately. If you want to go with 2 of your top prospects in the opening day lineup, Graham Pauley seems like he's a definite possibility to start at third base.
So I know they were working him out at first base. He was getting
now he's moved over
there.
And played some more third this last week. All right. You've got Tyler Wade, who is more of the journeyman, who has a little more experience. He's had a really good spring.
Yes.
He's also he's very versatile. Then whoever plays third base, obviously it's a temporary position. So they're going to move off that as soon as Manny Machado gets healthy. Having a guy like Tyler Wade who can play around the infield, can play a little bit of outfield, and is a left-handed hitter is certainly appealing to the San Diego Padres. And then you've got the guy who was doing it, well, a couple of guys actually, and Eggy Rosario and Matt Batten, who are both in camp. Batten has not had a strong offensive camp, but Eggy's done all right, and he remains in the mix as well as possible opening day third baseman for your San Diego Padres.
Yeah, Dennis had some projected lineups Here's a guess from Dennis Lynn. Tatis and Wright, Crony. This is in order and everything. Tatis and Wright, Crony at first, Xander at second. Don't know about Xander Bogaerts hitting third for my squad, but maybe that's the case. Manny Machado DHing, Hassan Kim at short, Campy catching, Profar in left, Paulie at third, Jackson Merrill in center field. Yeah, I mean, that's an interesting lineup. Here's where I get really concerned is when I look at the bench that Dennis guessed. Kyle Higashioka, Brett Sullivan, Jose Azocar, and Eggy Rosario would be your bench. That's tough. That's tough.
Why is that tough?
There's maybe 4 combined home runs between them. Maybe. That's tough. In a big spot late in the game, you want a guy that can come up, potentially hit the ball out of the ballpark. Don't know that we have that guy. I don't know that he exists. Also, if you're looking at that lineup, you look at 2 guys making their major league debut. Jurickson Profar really would love anything close to what he provided for us a couple of years ago. Again, it's a top heavy lineup as it was last year. And when I say top heavy, it's top heavy if Jake Cronenworth bounces back like we expect him to. Bounces back to 3 years ago. I mean, it's just tough. It's a tough look right now.
Let me ask you: is having a power bat on the bench even that important now that the designated hitter is in play in the National League? I mean, who are you going to be pinch hitting for
when you have
late in the game when you've got your best players already in the lineup?
Well, when you have 3 guys at the bottom of your order, 2 of which have never seen a pitch in the big leagues. Yeah, I'd say it is. And the other one being Jurickson Profar, I'd say sure. Having somebody that with a little bit of pop is probably fairly important to me, at least. I mean, you look at that guy.
There'll be some days where
you're looking at 4 defensive replacements basically on the bench.
There'll be some days where you rest one of your regulars,
sure,
and there'll be a power bat off the bench. If Manny's getting a day or Xander's getting a day somewhere, you'll have that guy to come off the bench and late in the game if you need it. To me, the starting 9 is really the key. You want to have good defensive replacements late in the game if you've got a lead.
I think you do.
You should have that with Sugar. Guys like that is a possibility. Brett Sullivan making the team, we've talked about it last week, is interesting in that he's a left-handed bat. Obviously is a catcher, but can also play other positions, giving him some versatility, something the Padres need. Now, Dennis didn't have Tyler Wade making the team, but he's got that versatility that could make him an interesting choice. I'm wondering how the 40-man roster is looking. Do they still have a spot on the 40-man roster? Because remember, if they add one of these non-roster invitees, they need to make sure there's room for them on a 40-man. And that would require them potentially designating someone or making a trade to clear a spot here late in spring training. But I don't know if they ever filled their entire 40-man. They were only at like 36 at one point, but they've signed some guys, and I haven't really kept track if they've gotten up to the full. So I'm looking at 40 or not.
At their website right now, you got guys like Tucupita Marcano's on the 40-man, Matt Batten's on the 40-man. Sean Reynolds is on the 40-man.
I mean, I don't think you want to lose Sean Reynolds though. You want depth in the minor leagues potentially.
Yeah, Jake Groom.
Especially guys who have options that can come up, during the season. Tucupita Marcano, maybe, it would be nice to have him in reserve at some point, but you'd have to put him through waivers.
Room for 8, Pat says. 8 on the 40-man.
No,
that can't be. No.
There's more than 32 on the 40-man right now.
I think that's right.
You can always put guys on the 60-day injured list, although they don't have a ton of long-term injuries right now. There's no Drew Pomeranz there that is ticketed for the 60-day injured list to start the season, so I don't know if that's going to play into it. I'm just throwing that out there as the kind of the roster stuff that A.J. Preller has to deal with. So they do have room.
Yeah.
All right, they've got some room right now. Well, that's good. That's good. So if they want to add one of those non-roster invitees, they can do so without costing themselves a spot on the 40-man. The pitching staff over the weekend taking a little more shape as well. On Saturday, Matt Waldron threw another 4 1/3 solid innings, 1 earned run, 7 hits, 3 strikeouts. The bullpen looked pretty good on Saturday as well in a 1-1 tie against the Chicago White Sox. Enyel De Los Santos, Steven Wilson, Wandy Peralta, Stephen Kolek, and Robert Suarez all pitched in that game. And Manny had his first 3-for-3 day as a designated hitter, which was good to see. Even though he's not throwing, he had a nice game on Saturday. Padres offense has not been great overall this spring, though. And then yesterday against the Angels, Johnny Brito 4 2/3 innings, 4 hits, 3 walks, but 6 more strikeouts. He struck out Mike Trout twice with men on. Got behind, walks, had some traffic, which is not great, but got out of it every time. He's really been making the pitches he needs. If you've got two favorites to be in that starting rotation at the start of the season, Waldron and Brito seem to have separated themselves a little bit during spring camp with what they've been able to do.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure Dennis had those guys at 4 and 5 in the Padres rotation to start the season. Which
And the
makes
fact
sense.
that Pedro Avila pitched late in the game in 1 inning makes you think that he might be out of that rotation race, and they're looking at him more as a bullpen piece. Did have Usak Go struggled yesterday against the Angels, gave up all 5 runs on 4 hits in just a third of the inning, including a 2-run home run to Brandon Drury as the Angels won the game 5-4. Offensively, the Padres were held to just 4 hits in that game. Again, the offense has not been great overall. I think everybody's kind of had a moment or two where they've looked all right, but consistently you just haven't seen that during spring training. It is spring training.
Yep.
Not going to worry too much about it, but I think the pitching has been better than the offense so far in the Cactus League for the Padres.
Yeah, Usak Go's really interesting, man. He's got a 16.20 ERA so far in spring. When we were out there, they just it's the way that he was conditioned to pitch in KBO, which is what I was told, is different than how you get guys out in the big leagues. And there's going to be some adjustment there. And they're trying. What I was told is they want him to throw his curveball more, and it's not something he's super comfortable doing. So if he can take that next step, make that adjustment, I think he's going to be fine. It's going to take a little while to adjust, as it does for a lot of guys. So it took Ha-Seong Kim a minute to adjust as well. So I hopefully he's fine and he's a big piece of that bullpen. But if not, I do feel like there's arms that are ready to go. I still don't know if he has the ability to be sent down or not.
I believe in his contract he has the right to refuse that,
cool.
from what I've seen.
Very
so that
cool.
could be an issue. If you might be able to talk him into it. Hey, we want to get you some regular work, call it a rehab assignment or something like that. But Padres have had some other pitchers who have thrown well. Jeremiah Estrada, among others, who they could add to the 40-man with those spots early in the season. You also, let's see, you've got Yuki Matsui, who threw 20 pitches to live bullpen on the backfields yesterday.
He's creeping back up to
he only
ready.
had the one outing in the Cactus League where he struck out the side to debut, and then he went through the back strain or back spasms and has not pitched since then in a Cactus League game. But they think he might be able to get into one of these last couple of games either tomorrow or Wednesday before the team leaves for Korea, which could possibly mean, he could be ready for that series, that first couple of games in Korea. They won't need all of their pitchers, obviously, in the first 2 games, especially with maybe some of the starters available to come in relief in those games. So I don't think they need to rely on him, but he is making progress toward returning, and he clearly seems to be a few steps ahead of where, like, Woo-Suk Go is here, at least in spring training, as one of the new Padres from Asia.
And someone in the chat, where was it? Oh, Melamel said they hit Waldron pretty hard on Saturday. Now, here's the thing. When they hit you hard and you still only give up 1 earned run, they say you scattered 7 hits. Yeah, he scattered 7 hits.
Brito also scattered his
scattered
hits
your
and
hits.
walks well.
But the thing that I think you're encouraged by with Matt Waldron, no walks, got some Ks, 3 Ks in 4 1/3 innings. So his ERA is 1.35. He can get barreled as much as he wants as long as they don't score. As long as he doesn't give guys freebies.
I don't mistake my proclamation that Johnny Brito and Matt Waldron have separated themselves to making me say that, hey, and they're probably going to make the All-Star team this year. They're still 4th and 5th starters at best right now in big league baseball, but you need a 4th and a 5th starter. I doubt that they'll be there the entire season. I can almost certainly guarantee you that there'll be some movement on those last spots in the Padres starting rotation. Simply saying, to start the year, based on how they've performed in spring training, they look like they deserve the first shot at getting at least a couple of starts early in the year, and from there you can decide whether you want to move Randy Vasquez in, you want to give Avila another chance, or you start calling up some of the younger guys, like Snelling at some point, whether it's May or June, to get an opportunity in the rotation. But just early on, it looks like Brito and and Waldron are the guys right now.
I love our YouTube chat because it's like instant feedback and it's instant. Like it's almost like Q&A sometimes. I like this what Orthodox Evans said in the chat. When you're coming off an offensive year like last year, it's nerve-wracking to watch a slow offense in spring training. You are absolutely not wrong in the slightest. And you see it, you feel it, you get reminded of.
Oh, here we go again.
100%. Again, these games don't matter. These stats don't count. You could bat 750, means nothing. Guys have had monster springs and had terrible seasons. Guys have and gone the other way. Shohei Ohtani had a terrible start to his big league career, batting $130.
Think about the games that count. And let's just even erase the first 2 games because then you have a week off again.
Yeah.
I'm talking like the
Giants.
home opener. Let's go a week. If the Padres are 2-4 with a
averaging
extra
2
inning
runs,
loss, like it's only natural for everybody to just be like, "Oh my God,
You have
here we go
every
again."
right and the license to panic, even in the first week of the season. I
Jake
will not say it's
Jake
early.
and Ah-Sung Kim both have over 1,000 OPS.
Yep.
If it were 2 guys I'd love to see have good springs, it's those guys, which is good because you feel like Taddy and Xander and Manny, they're going to get going at some point. They always do. So I like what I've seen from those guys at least. So that's the update from the Padres this weekend. We'll come back. We got some take on Woods, maybe some Oscar thoughts, SDSU as well. All coming up with Ben Woods here on 97.3 The Fan. Congratulations to Padres fan Emma Stone on another Academy Award victory last night.
She looked terrified to win that award.
She seems very genuine.
She is. She does.
And I like that about her. And, of course, I like that she's a Padres fan.
Yep.
Poor Things. I did not see that movie.
I didn't either. I did not hear good things about it either. And I looked it up, and I had heard, it mentioned there were so many great performances. And, the Oscars is the one where, I'll stop down and spend some time watching that because there were a lot of movies. Number one for me was Oppenheimer. I just loved it. I couldn't believe how much I loved it.
And it did win Best Picture.
Yeah. And Cillian Murphy was incredible.
Along with every other award.
Every other award. He was so good. I really wanted it for Paul Giamatti, too, because I love Paul Giamatti. And I would hate for him to go his entire career and not win an Oscar. It would be a bit of a travesty, as he is so good at that craft, that art form of acting. But I enjoyed it, man. I did. And I do. It's not lost on me, guys. It's not lost on me. I'm not the one. It's not lost on me that it's a bit ridiculous. It is. It's absolutely a bit ridiculous. And they come up and they give their impassioned speeches for this and for that, and really nothing ever changes. It's nice to say it. You have to say it. It's kind of part of the deal. But I do enjoy it. I am able to see through the kind of absurdity of it, but also still really enjoy it, a lot. So I liked it last night. It was good.
Yeah, if you haven't seen every movie and every performance, I feel like you can't really have an opinion. Now, we watched Killers of the Flower Moon. I thought Lily Gladstone was fantastic. I assumed she was going to win.
I would have bet the ranch
I didn't
on that
see
one,
Emma
man.
Stone, so maybe Emma Stone was better.
Yeah, maybe.
But, I know she was fantastic in Killers of the Flower Moon. But, there were some hits and misses last night, certainly, as there will be in any 3.5-hour telecast that is live and features a bunch of celebrities, some of whom may be, not completely sober the entire time. I thought there were some, gutsy calls, like John Cena, who's going to be 47 years old next month, so our age, coming out basically naked on stage in the Oscars and pulling off that bit.
You thought that was gutsy?
I thought that was pretty gutsy.
If you look like that, you would, gutsy would be for Paul Giamatti to do it. That's gutsy. Yes. John Cena walking out with a thing over his wiener is literally the least gutsy thing I've ever seen in my life. The guy is a chiseled Greek god.
Well, good for him at age 46, soon to be 47.
He looks incredible. So
he did.
That's not gutsy.
So I saw Entertainment Tonight had posted a behind the scenes picture. He had this little tiny nude colored G-stringy thing on underneath the envelope that he crawled out in, so he wasn't completely naked on stage, but certainly looked like it based on how they pulled that off last night.
I was very happy for Robert Downey Jr., who is just one of my favorites in anything.
First Oscar.
The guy is a force.
It's a force. I was watching last night and I go, it's just amazing how somebody could be around for that long and
be that
big of a star.
Yeah.
And yet it takes how many years has he been doing this?
A long time.
You got to get that one movie.
Well, the crap. He was so good in Chaplin when he was young, but he was going up against maybe the greatest field ever. Al Pacino, Son of a Woman. There were a bunch of them that year, and it just wasn't his time. It's what I fear for guys like Paul Giamatti and Bradley Cooper. I felt bad for him as well. Now I did not see Maestro. The black and whites are tough for me to sit and watch. They just are, because it's not 1940 anymore. And we have color and stuff, and I get what you're trying to do, and I do appreciate art and all of that. But for me, it's a tough watch. He wrote it, he starred in it, directed it. That was his passion. That was his whole thing. And then you could see it on his face when he didn't win, and you're like, yeah, that one stings. It's different than, hey, here's the script. Somebody else wrote it. Learn it. Do it really well. Like the other guys did. When you put he put his entire
He
being
just got
into
so
it.
much love a couple of years ago for A Star Is Born, though. Maybe Hollywood thought, let's try someone else this year and spread it around. And I think that's
Christopher Nolan, well-deserved.
He did. I'm surprised. He had never won before.
It's amazing. There was a lot of guys a lot of people that won, for the first time that were very, very deserving. But I did enjoy it last night.
I liked the performances. throughout the show.
The first one I saw was Billie Eilish, and it almost
She
brought
is
me to
so
tears,
awesome.
man. She's unbelievable at what she does. What a unicorn.
I love the thing I love about her is that she's like, what, 21, 22 years old, and she acts
22.
like it. She's 22 years old, but she acts like it when she's out there. Like
she has
she's
2 Oscars
two
already
Oscars
at
now,
22.
along with all the Grammys. She's so successful, but she's just like a kid, and she's just enjoying the moment and having fun. And her speech was great.
So talented. My God, is she? When she first busted on the scene with the first song, I went, oh, more, pop, whatever that I'm not going to pay attention to. And boy, has she grown on me, man. And she is so insanely talented. I thought that was really well
Ryan
done.
Gosling was
Ryan
awesome.
Gosling is a movie star. That's what he is. He is an old school throwback movie star.
I've still never seen Barbie, but
I haven't either. I
that
want to,
performance of the Ken song was really fantastic.
He's unbelievable.
Barbie was great.
That's what I heard. Hannah loved it.
It was phenomenal.
But he was so good in that performance last night. It was really well done. I thought everybody did a good job.
Now, all prognostications on this show are usually wrong, but if you want a favorite for next year's Best Picture and Best Director, Denis Villeneuve and Dune 2, which I went and saw with my boys on Saturday.
Oh, really?
Was terrific. Maybe the best sci-fi movie I have ever seen. It is really spectacular looking.
I have not seen anything Dune related. I
Now,
didn't see the first one.
when was the first Dune out?
First one came
Couple years
out
ago?
2 or 3 years ago. Yeah.
Why do I feel like Dune
Well,
was out
there
when
was
we
a
were-
movie in the
okay,
1970s.
all right.
Yeah, there was a.
Okay.
They did not have the
Timothy
technology.
Chalamet.
It was panned. It was a huge flop back then. They didn't have the technology to pull off what they do now. And
So I didn't watch the first one. I have not seen the second one yet, obviously, but I have had people tell me, like multiple people say, Dune 2 in particular, one of the best movies that I've
Chalamet is
ever
great,
seen.
and surprisingly so. He's not like he is in the other movies. He's great in this. Zendaya is great. Javier Bardem's in it. Stellan Skarsgård. Christopher Walken is in it. I mean,
Your dog has no tail. Where is the Dune? I can't see the Dune.
Give me that sandworm.
Is that sand?
It was really really.
I'd
good.
probably hate it because I don't really.
I don't know.
Like
You don't
sci-fi.
like sci-fi. I don't know. It's definitely, a niche genre. But it reminded me of actually like Return of the King, which won Best Picture. Very similar in some of the themes and the epic grand scale of it. I loved it, and I didn't love the first one. I did not like Dune 1 as much, but Dune 2
How long is
I
this bad
really
boy?
loved. It's close to 3 hours.
Man, that's
But
the
that's
new
the
bit.
I mean,
That's
that's
the
the
new
thing
bit.
now.
I will say,
That's how it goes.
I think we were texting, the three of us, last night, and it kind of made me sad. They kept showing people in the audience, and they kept going to like De Niro for a little while. He does not look. He looks old, man.
Well, he's old. These guys are old.
He also had a kid like 2 years ago, which is really weird.
Do we have Pacino?
And I have Pacino. He gave the award for Best Picture.
Hold on, before we do that, need a contestant for Take on Woods. 833-288-0973. Call now. Qualify for Las Vegas coming up. Yeah.
Pacino doesn't look good. He doesn't sound good. And it made me sad. This was him giving the award for Best Picture, like the award of the night.
10 wonderful films were nominated, but only one will take the award for Best Picture. And I have to go to the envelope for that. And I will.
It was very anticlimactic.
Here it comes. And my eyes see Oppenheimer.
People didn't know.
Yes.
Yeah, well, they didn't go through all the nominees right then. He didn't say in the Oscar,
The Oscar
goes to, which, I mean, stick to the script.
And my eyes see Oppenheimer.
And my eyes see Oppenheimer?
Yeah, and my eyes see Oppenheimer.
Doctor, my eyes have seen Oppenheimer.
It was a bit anticlimactic, as Paulie said. It's tough, man. It's tough watching Al get a little long in the tooth because he's one of the best to ever do it, especially for guys our age, man. You grew up with Al Pacino, and he was young and vibrant and sharp, and it's tough. It's really, really tough. It's a good reminder to do it up when you can.
I'm not big award show guy. They all kind of blend together for me. The Emmys, the Oscars, the Golden Globes, the Academy Awards. But have they traditionally done this? I loved when they had, for the big awards, they would have the past, like,
it was awesome.
If there were 4 nominees or 5 nominees, they would have 5 past winners standing on stage, and
that was new.
That was
really
new.
Cool. That was new.
That was awesome.
Although I missed seeing the clips of the actors and actresses in their
In their
roles a little
movies.
bit as well.
Yeah,
But seeing like the former winners saying something nice about each of the current nominees. I thought that was really
seeing
good
the big
touch.
stars come out there and talk about them you could tell it was touching to the nominees as well.
Very, very much so.
I thought if Al Pacino was the worst presenter,
I don't say he was the worst.
I think he was one of the worst. The best,
just different.
I'm gonna,
Al.
at least in my mind, I'm gonna save for do this in our next segment.
It was at least the best moment.
I
for
thought
me, my favorite
it was
moment.
fantastic. Of course, it referred to one of our favorite baseball movies of all time. So we'll save that coming up for do this. But right now, let's get to Take On Woods. All right, Take On Woods is brought to you by Valvoline Instant Oil Change. It only takes 15 minutes. You don't have to get out of your car. For directions and discounts, go to SoCalOilChange.com. That's SoCalOilChange.com. And we got Joe on the line today. Hello, Joe. How are you?
I'm doing all right.
All right. You're going to try to qualify for our getaway to Las Vegas. It's a 2-night stay at the new Fontainebleau and a $150 dinner credit. Luxury resort, gaming, meeting destination. The legacy of Fontainebleau, Las Vegas, built upon more than 70 years of sublime beauty, unparalleled service, and timeless design. Book now at FontainebleauLasVegas.com. All right, Woodsy's gone. Here are the categories to choose from today in our musical trivia challenge. We got Beach Party. Those are all beach-themed answers. You're Kidding Me. 5 artists and song titles featuring the word kid or kids. And new category, Mind Games. 5 musical answers that contain the word mind or minds. Beach Party, You're Kidding Me, or Mind Games. Joe, what would you like to play?
Let's go to You're Kidding Me.
You're Kidding Me. All right, 60 seconds and 5 questions. Each answer is either an artist or a song title featuring the word kid or kids. You have 60 seconds. If you don't know an answer, say pass. We'll come back to it if there's time left on the clock. First question's the 2-second song. Paulie's going to play a little bit of music. You need to give me the title of the song and the artist to score that point. Joe, are you ready to play?
Yeah, I'm ready.
All right, 60 seconds on the clock in the category You're Kidding Me. Your time begins when Paul plays the music. Good luck, Joe. Let's Take On Woods.
Looking out a dirty old window, down below.
Kids in America, Kim Wilde.
Correct. Brothers Jonathan and Jordan Knight were 2 founding members of which trailblazing boy band formed in 1984?
New Kids on the Block.
Correct. What is the stage name of Robert Ritchie, who was married to Pamela Anderson for several months in late 2006?
Kid Rock.
Correct. Which 1999 song by The Offspring is about a group of young people dealing with problems like unplanned pregnancy, drug addiction, and unemployment?
The Kids Aren't All Right.
Correct. Which early hip-hop duo featuring Christopher Reed and Christopher Martin might be best known for Reed's high-top fade haircut?
Kid and Play.
Oh, that was a fantastic game of Take On Woods by Joe. You're in, Joe. Put you into the drawing for Las Vegas. No way Woods can beat you. He can only tie you. Let's bring him back in and see if he can match that at least, or if Joe's going to get an outright win today. I did this last week, so I'm going to do it again. Joe went 5 for 5, so all you can do is match him. You need everything.
Jesus.
You need all you've got in this category.
Happy Monday.
60 seconds back on the clock. Your time begins when Paul plays the music. Good luck, Woods. Let's take on Joe.
Looking out a dirty old window, down below the car.
Pass.
Brothers Jonathan and Jordan Knight were 2 founding members of which trailblazing boy band formed in 1984?
Backstreet Boys.
Incorrect.
That's it.
It's over.
Game over.
What's the stage name of Robert Ritchie, who was married to Pamela Anderson?
1984?
Correct.
84?
Which 1999 song by the Offspring is about a group of young people dealing with problems like unplanned pregnancy, drug addiction, and unemployment?
No idea.
Which early hip-hop duo featuring Christopher Reed and Christopher Martin might be best known for Reed's high-top fade
Kid and
haircut?
Play.
Correct. Go back to our 2-second song.
Looking out a dirty old window,
It sounds familiar. I don't know what it is.
the cars.
I'm out.
You're out. All right. That was the category was You're Kidding Me. It's Kids in America by Kim Wilde. New Kids on the Block.
Oh.
Kid Rock, The Kids Aren't All Right, and Kid and Play. You got smoked by Joe today. Smoked.
I mean, it's more embarrassing for Joe.
Joe has done this before.
So.
Joe is so calm when he comes on and just calmly goes through all the answers, he is he's like a Hall of Famer now in Take on Woods. He's fantastic when he plays.
What does that mean?
Like when we do the Tournament of Champions, we need to do that at some point, like Jeopardy does.
Yeah, there's a few.
The Tournament of Champions.
We could do like a whole big segment.
Like a big. We'll do that later this year.
Christmas
we'll collect
and holiday show.
We'll collect our best Take on Woods champions. We'll do a Tournament of Champions and play you against everybody for the outright like grand champion title.
What was it? What was the title?
Kids. You're kidding me. Yeah,
You're
kid or
kidding
kids
me.
in every answer.
Okay.
Sorry, Woods.
Would have helped a little.
I could have given it to you. Wouldn't have mattered.
No, wouldn't have mattered.
All right, let's do.
I think the Backstreet Boys were formed in 1984.
Well, I'm sorry that I don't know all the boy bands, and I didn't know the category. I'm not a boy band
NKOTB, New Kids on the Block.
I hate boy bands, man. Oh, God.
Don't Do This is going to a couple of Hall of Famers, actually, potentially for Don't Do This. Rudy Gobert, Angel Hernandez. Both potential Hall of Famers and Don't Do This making an appearance when we come back next after a check of traffic. Don't go away. More Ben and Woods on a Monday on the way on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. I know you're all eagerly anticipating our first tournament of drops matchups. They're coming up here at the bottom of the hour. First, though, little Don't Do This, and I got a couple of potential Don't Do This Hall of Famers today, starting with Timberwolves center Rudy Gobert. Always seems to be in the middle of something in the NBA. This time, Gobert was fined $100,000 yesterday for something he did on Friday night involving official Scott Foster, who, if you know his name, you realize it's never a good idea to know the officials' names, and he's definitely one of the more controversial NBA referees. But Gobert was really upset with a late call. He was fouled out, sixth foul, stayed on the floor, and made the money gesture at Foster, like implying that he's getting paid off, like to toss me out of the game, and the NBA did not take kindly to that.
Mama.
And
that will get you.
Punished Gobert with their own money gesture, like pay up
pay
$100,000 fine. And part of that was also the history of Rudy Gobert, the fact that he has been in all of this a lot.
He's a multiple offender.
An aside, it is March 11th. 2024. We've got to be real close to the 4-year anniversary of
Rudy
Gobert touching all the microphones,
starting COVID,
starting COVID, shutting down the NBA,
shutting down the universe. Yeah.
So he's $100,000 lighter, and the Timberwolves without Cat have been struggling a little bit. Lost to the Lakers last night, 120-109 at Crypto.com Arena. Anthony Davis, 27 points, 25 rebounds in that game last night. But I digress because you've got another.
Because it's the Lakers, and that's why
you've got another official-related Hall of Famer in Don't Do This.
Well, Scott Foster is a name that you know, and Angel Hernandez is a name that you also know. Look, you can feel however you want to feel about umpires. It's a tough gig. I will always... No, I won't. I was going to say I will always tip my hat. I don't. That said, here's the thing. Human mistakes are absolutely going to happen in all walks of life, right? Like
we have tier ones who are umpires out there. So,
absolutely.
Choose your words carefully.
Our guy yesterday, Billy, I love Billy, but Billy didn't have a great game for us behind the plate. He didn't. I love you.
Pretty bad day, actually.
Bad day, in my opinion.
Nice guy.
Great guy.
I bet the other team did not share your opinion.
They thought he was terrible, too.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
both teams thought he was terrible?
I was texting with my buddy on the other team. He said, did you pay that umpire off? I'm like, did you? Anyway, I digress.
That means he was very fair. That if
he was consistently bad.
Billy, I love you. I really do. I do. He's the best. You're going to make mistakes. When you stop down and make the show the ump show, that is where my problem has always lied. You botch a call, I chirp you, we move on with our day, it's fine. Lance Lynn was on the mound in spring training down in the Grapefruit League, Ben, and getting his work in. And they said he had a couple of playful chirps at Angel Hernandez, and Angel Hernandez decided, I've had enough, and I'm throwing you out, Lance, of a spring training game. So you think it ends there. Lance he looked befuddled, but then...
Guy's probably getting out, 2 innings of work?
Yeah, at most. And, Angel's zone was, as it usually is, not great. And so he gets tossed. Marmol comes out. He ends up tossing Ollie as well. And so Lance goes, you know what, fine. It's spring training. I could care less. I just wanted to get my work in. I'm going to go out to the bullpen and get my work in down there, throw some, stay hot and get my work in.
Nope.
Angel said no. No,
he stopped the game.
Stopped the game, stood out there, and waited for Lance Lynn to leave the field along with Ollie Marmol.
Then he went back to his Airbnb, and Angel said, no, you've got to leave that.
Yeah, you've got to leave that.
Leave that as
you have
well.
to leave Florida entirely. No, but he ran him and then ran him twice from that game. And again, Angel is a guy where you look at and you say there's no way you should still be umpiring in the big leagues. He doesn't have the temperament for it anymore, and clearly doesn't.
He never did.
He never did, and clearly does not have the skill to do it.
He's not a good umpire.
He's not a good umpire.
Everybody in baseball acknowledges
Correct.
that, but they can't get rid of him.
Correct.
Umpires have a strong union.
Yep.
So they're just forced to. Someone gets him every series, and it's like, oh no. They all feel the same way.
He basically told Lance, let's go. And Lance said, I've got 5 seconds on the pitch clock. I'll start whenever I feel like it. And Angel, boom, you're gone. Dude, he's got such a hair trigger.
All right, finally, a little do this. And
mega doo-doo.
as we teased, it is a drop right there. So the Oscars, we were just talking about it. The worst presenter, probably Al Pacino for Best Picture. I thought my Best Presenter award, though, went to John Mulaney, who did the best and most unexpected recap of one of my favorite baseball movies and pointed out every reason why it really should be a terrible movie. Yet, I don't know. I still love it anyway. Woods has not heard this yet.
I have not. I
He
wanted to be
was up
surprised.
there, and I think the award was like sound in cinema or
Something like
Because he was
that.
talking about like
Yeah.
without sound, we would not have lines like "We're going to need a bigger boat. I'll have what she's having."
Yeah.
And then he goes on this minute-long rant about Field of Dreams.
Let's hear it.
Or what about that moment in Field of Dreams when we hear, "If you build it, he will come." And then Costner does it. He builds a baseball field. Well, I guess he doesn't build it. He mows down corn, and then there is a field. And then he's like, "I'm going to watch Ghost play baseball." And the bank is like, "You want to pay your mortgage?" And he's like, "Nah, I'm going to watch Ghost play baseball." And then he finds James Earl Jones, who wrote The Boat Rocker, which I thought was a real book deep into my 20s. And he's like, "People will come, Ray. He's the only one with a financial plan." But what's weird is Timothy Busfield pushes little Gabby Hoffman off the bleachers, and she falls down, and she's unconscious. Then Burt Lancaster is Moonlight Graham, and he comes up and he pats her on the back a couple times, and he's like, "Hot dogs stuck in the throat." And then he can't go back in the game, because I guess there's a rule in Ghost Baseball that if you leave the field at any point to become an elderly ghost and do the Heimlich maneuver, you can't return to the field. I love Field of Dreams. That should win Best Picture.
Brilliant. I love it. I'm sorry that I missed that. It was really, really, really well
I mean,
done.
considering how difficult it is for some of those stars to just read a teleprompter for 10 seconds.
Right.
The smoothness of that recap of Field of Dreams just had me last night.
I love that he said he's the only one that had a financial plan. It's so brilliant. The Boat Rocker
I thought that was a
sounds
real book.
like such a book. It sounds like such a book that happened in the 60s. Really, really good
And
stuff.
then the idea that they can be ghosts. This is the impossible can happen.
Yeah.
But if he walks off the field, he never gets to
Can't
come
go
back. Who made that rule?
Can't go back. Can't go back at all. And that scene killed. I weep every time he can't go back.
It's horrible.
Oh no, he can't go back, and it guts me.
You can have the magic to come back to life
Yeah.
to play baseball, but you walk off the field, you can't come back
Can't
again.
come back again. No, it's really, really. That was really, really well done by him. Want to give another shout out to one of our tier ones, Maserati. His name, he goes by Maserati Smalls. Texted me last night. He goes, "Man, went to watch my daughter play fast pitch, Claremont girls fast pitch softball. She hit 2 bombs yesterday over the fence.
Wow.
Absolute tanks. Ava Smalls with a 2 home run performance. So shout out to her. Do this. Congratulations.
mega doo-doo.
What a proud dad you must be.
All right. When we come back, we will reveal the first 4 matchups from the explicit region of our tournament of drops. I also want to get into Friday night's Aztecs' latest heartbreaker for San Diego State. That is all coming up next with Bennett Woods on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
iPhone 12 with 5G and a dual camera system for $99.99. Take amazing pictures and share them instantly. And don't put up with life's yada yada.
Yada yada.
Like photo bombers. Zoom, crop out,
Yada yada.
and bye.
You don't take yada yada in life, don't take yada yada from your wireless provider. Get iPhone 12 with 5G with no activation fees and not
First time, really, all college basketball season. I am not eagerly anticipating the dropping of the top 25 because pretty sure the San Diego State Aztecs won't be in it after they lost twice last week, including their first and only home loss of the season Friday night, senior night.
I was blown away.
At Viejas Arena. That one shocked me a little bit as well against Boise State, the only team that swept them in Mountain West play this year. We're going to talk about the game and then reveal our first matchups in the Tournament of Drops right after this check of traffic on 97.3 The Fan.
From the 97.3 The Fan Traffic Center, here's Kelly Danick.
Got a hit-and-run accident near the border, northbound 5, just past the port of entry. It's over to the right shoulder. Also an accident blocking the fast lane on westbound King Freeway at Federal. Northbound 163 before Kearneyville Road. We're getting reports of some metal debris in the slow lane. I'm Kelly Danick with Ben and Woods, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
Reality setting in just a little bit right now as it pertains to the San Diego State Aztecs.
Dub J in the chat goes, sorry, Ben, the Aztecs do not have what it takes to go very far. Way too inconsistent. And clearly there's been some inconsistency this season. I will point out there was also some inconsistency last season before the tournament. They were not just a team that, beat everyone. Yeah, they won. They finished strong. They won the Mountain West and the Mountain West tournament last year.
So that's markedly different than this year.
I mean, they could win the Mountain West tournament this year.
They could.
We don't know. They're gonna start playing it on Thursday against host UNLV in the 4-5 game. But it was frustrating because I really did feel like for most of that game against Boise State, it was the Aztecs team I was looking for. Jaden Ledee had another good game, 21 points, but then all of a sudden at the end of the game went scoreless the last 13 minutes as Boise rallied, I think from like 10 down to force overtime. And there were some tough moments as well. Once they got to OT, the Max Rice, the Aztecs play unbelievable defense for 28 seconds on the shot clock, tipped the ball out by half court. Max Rice, the coach's son, picks it up. His back is to the basket. And there's 1 second on the shot clock, so you can only do one thing. Spins and just chucks it up toward the basket. And, of course, it swishes into the net for a three-pointer. The Aztecs overcome that, come back, get a big three by Darion Trammell to tie the game in overtime with seconds remaining, but then couldn't get a rebound when they needed it. Offensive rebound and then a foul on the putback on Cam Martin makes both the free throws, and Boise State wins it 79-77 at Viejas Arena on Friday night, likely, at least for this point, dropping the Aztecs down a seed notch or two, 5th, 6th type seed now in the NCAA tournament. That could change this week at the Mountain West tournament. But
if they win the Mountain West tournament, what
can they get back to a 4? I don't know, 5, maybe a 4 if they win the Mountain West tournament.
These games definitely a 5.
Maybe a 4. But it's going to be a tough road because their first game now. And fortunately, they don't have to play on Wednesday in the 6 versus 11 game because Utah State beat New Mexico, so they got the 5 seed. But they'll have to play UNLV, who just beat them, at the same venue, the Thomas and Mack Center, and it'll be in front of mostly UNLV fans. Obviously, the show travels well, but UNLV is going to want to win that game. That's the only way they can get into the tournament is by winning the conference tournament. UNLV won't get an at-large bid, so that's their season on the line. Yep. Taking a road team on in the first game of the Mountain West tournament. That's Thursday at 2:30. So it's a tough road. You win that one, you probably get Utah State, the conference champion, in the semifinals, and then you make it through that on Saturday. Could be any of the other teams from the other half of the bracket. Fortunately, they don't need to win to get in. They're in the NCAA tournament, even if they drop down to a 7 seed.
Yeah, they're in.
They get an opportunity to get hot and to play some better basketball in March. And if you're an Aztecs fan, that's got to be your hope right now. They haven't played as good as they did early in the season recently, and I think the biggest difference for me has been the shooting. The three-point shooting has been really bad lately. I don't know what happened to Reese Waters, who felt like they finally had a shooter. Early in the season, the guy didn't miss a free throw. Looked like he was going to be that three-point shooter we've been waiting for years, that really dangerous guy who's going to make everything. Lately, it feels like Reese Waters can't make anything. Even the free throws have been an adventure for Reese Waters, and they kind of need him to get going. Trammell hasn't been shooting well until that clutch. Maybe that clutch three-pointer at the end might give him a little confidence going into the postseason here, but he hasn't shot well. Micah Parrish was their best returning three-point shooter. He's been around a 33%er. Elijah Saunders really is the only guy who's been hitting threes for them lately, and it's good that he'll be back next season. But they need some of those guys to start making some shots, or it will be a quick exit likely in the NCAA tournament for the Aztecs.
Maybe I'm panicking like the fans that you've alluded to all year and even going back to last season, but as somebody that has lost now several bets on the Aztecs, I fear
in a row
that they're just not as good as I want them to be.
It's very Padres-esque.
It is very Padres-esque. And think about last year's Aztecs team. Last year's Aztecs team could have lost about 5 or 6 games that they pulled off with buzzer beaters, with great plays at the end. It would have looked exactly like this season if they hadn't made some of those shots. Yeah. And they're losing these games by 1. They lost to Boise State by 1 and 2. Yep. They've lost overtime games. The games that they won last season, they've been losing. Now, that could all change in the NCAA tournament. We've seen teams like UConn when they beat the Aztecs, not last year, but the first time they ran through it. They had a terrible regular season, ran through, won the Big East tournament, went right through the NCAA tournament. You get hot, and things can change. So I'm not giving up on the Aztecs. I'm not saying they can't do it, but they're certainly making their road tougher. And they certainly won't do it unless they start making some shots and playing a little bit better, especially on the rebounding end of the floor coming up here in March.
And you in sports, you try to follow trends, and it's the same. It's very similar to the Padres last year. You're like, there's no way this can continue, no chance. Like it's going to turn around. We still haven't played our best baseball. Blah blah blah. Brian Dutcher echoed kind of the same sentiment, and I liked this quote. I did. He said, I always say, I learned this a long time ago, hard work is not always rewarded the day you do it. In fact, I would say it's almost never rewarded the day you do it, unless you're building a fence. You know what I'm saying? And you can sit back and go, there's the fence I'd built. But if you're putting in hours in the gym, or you're working on your shooting, or your putting, or your pitching, whatever, it's going to take some time. But we watch trends in all sports. They're trending down. And I know the losses have been close, but the trend is down. The confidence is, you cannot lose on senior night at home to secure a perfect season at home.
You want to tear your hair out. It is very Padres-like from last season. Bill points out, how could Lamont Butler be a 54% free throw shooter? Clutch guy. And he made 2 huge clutch free throws at the end of regulation when the game was tied. Made 2 of them. Aztecs up by 2. They get a stop, and they send Lamont Butler to the line. He's got 2 free throws. He's got a one-on-one. If he makes them both, they're up 4. They win that game. He missed. Boise State went, made their basket, forced overtime, ended up winning the game. I mean, that's the difference. 2 free throws made. The Aztecs win that game. They got momentum going into the conference tournament. We're having a very different conversation this morning about San Diego State. If just 1 or 2 little tiny things get flipped in a couple of these games this season.
That's the exact same thing we said about the Padres last year.
Exactly the same.
How many times did we come in here and say, if that 1-loss record or that extra inning record, Ben, was just 500, we're a playoff team by a few games. I mean, 3, 4, 5 games. It's not the way it works. I mean, they look like they lack confidence right now. Also, when your best player is Jaden Ledee and you have to he feels the need, I've got to force a shot sometimes because nobody else can shoot on this team. I don't know, man. Like the other 4 guys are like, just get it to him. Get it to him.
And one thing that
somebody's got to step up.
The Aztecs can't control is the inconsistent officiating
of Jaden Ledee
when it comes to Jaden Ledee.
100%.
Because there are some games when referees will call.
I didn't think we got the home cooking at all.
We didn't. It was the one game they finally didn't get the complete home cooking that they've gotten in most of the games, and they haven't gotten on the road. But yeah, Ledee did not get some of those calls that would have made a huge difference in that game. We'll see what happens in the NCAA tournament. They get friendly officials who are calling the hacks on Ledee. Aztecs are going to be very tough to stop. If they let him play and they let the other team just hammer Ledee over and over again without making those calls, it's going to be very tough for the Aztecs to win.
As they have most of the year. The guy has been through the ringer this year. The ringer. I've watched more Aztecs basketball game, regular season this year than I ever have before. Watched that entire game on Friday night. When they had it and they were up like 10, 11, somewhere around there, I was like, all right, now you got to close this thing out. And they just, I don't want to see. I don't want to say lazy or lack of effort, but sloppy. Definitely some sloppy play.
The start of the second half, the turnover
so sloppy, by J-Pal, wasn't it?
J-Pal, yeah, the bad
so
pass.
sloppy.
I mean, this is an overtime game. Those are 2 free points you
Kills
just
you.
gave away in a game that ended up going to overtime. It makes you want to tear your hair out a little bit.
It does, and it's not indicative of a Brian Dutcher coach team at all. I mean, the attention to detail is just lacking.
It's college basketball, so you always have to remember their kids. But we'll see. Thursday, 2:30 in the afternoon against UNLV in the first game of the Mountain West Tournament. Other college basketball notes, UCSD got invited to the CBI. Even though they're not eligible for the NCAA tournament of the Big West, 21-win season. Congratulations to the Tritons. They'll find out who they're playing and the rest of the field after the NCAA tournament and NIT are decided next week. And then the SDSU women won last night in the Mountain West tournament. They'll play again today in the quarterfinals against New Mexico. All right, it is time. We have revealed the field of 32 earlier this morning. Now, your votes will make the difference in who advances in our tournament of drops. It's time to get to our first matchup in our upper right quadrant.
You want to bring back the field?
The explicit. Yeah, go ahead and play our field of 32 again.
Hey there, Delilah.
Oh, no, I like it creamy. Ooh. Orgasmic revelation.
Oh, my goodness.
And someone didn't secure their load of gravel.
I like squirt.
Cat pervert.
You're a nerd, too.
I just felt the way that the roster is built, they would have to outscore their opponents to win.
One, cancel the parade. That's why you play the games.
Take a listen. Oh,
What up, crew?
Hi, this is Jackson Merrill.
Fister? Yeah, absolutely.
Ooh, a booty. I'm going to have a booty.
Oh, my God, I'm so stiff. Balls bouncing off my chest.
Big bomber class before bossing on it.
Beautiful, gorgeous cans. Just the tip.
Ding-ling-ling-ling-ling-ling. Samfire, push Queen, gets go get it. Queen drop off, Lanticilio, go, go, go.
It's a complete crap.
You can visit Pity City, but you can't live there.
Hey, where's the freaking gabagoo?
I like San Diego State.
Hi, Paul.
There's your field
There
of
it
32 drops for the 5th annual Tournament of Drops. And I misspoke. We were starting in the upper left quadrant of our bracket, the explicit region, and we have 4 first-round matchups for you. Starting at the top with our number 1 seed. It had to be in the explicit region. Has to be Delilah.
Hey there, Delilah.
Their opponent, the 8
Man,
seed.
that's a strong number 1.
The 8 seed in the first round is...
Cat pervert.
What was that one from?
It was a
video.
It was a video
Yeah.
guy in here. It was somebody here that was yelling at his neighbor.
Yes.
Oh,
we were
that's right.
We were pleading for tier 1s. Like, does anybody know who this guy is? Call him. Have him call into the show.
Right below that is our 4-5 matchup. The Orgasmic Revelation. Number 4 seed. My feed, my advertising feed on my X stream. Orgasmic Revelation.
What happens to perverts?
That's what I see
That's
all the
what you
time.
get.
And I'm going up against one Jesse Agler, the 5 seed.
Oh, my goodness.
I don't know if that was an explicit drop or not, but it sounded a little bit
It does.
explicit from Jesse Agler. And then the 3-6 matchup below that, the 3 seed, another Ben drop. Ooh.
No idea. No idea where that came from.
Is that from a song?
Ooh.
Baby,
Yeah.
please don't go.
I think it is.
I love that song.
sounds like it. And then a very strong 6 seed, our very own Kelly Danick.
And someone didn't secure their load of gravel.
How we turn everyone into deviants. I've turned Ben into a deviant. Kelly
Sweet Kelly
Danick.
Danick.
She's now a deviant.
Well, it's unsurprising that the explicit region is filled with Ben drops, and we've got 2 of them in our final 2 versus 7 matchup. The 2 seed.
I like
the 2 seed.
The 2 seed.
Oh, no, I like it creamy.
Against the 7 seed.
I like squirt.
Wow, what a matchup.
It's unbelievable.
What a devious matchup in the first round.
Very perverted.
Only one can go on.
Yeah.
And someone's going home in the first round there. So, hey there, Delilah, cat pervert. Orgasmic Revelation versus, oh my goodness. Ooh, versus Secure Their Load of Gravel. And I Like It Creamy versus I Like Squirt in the first round of the explicit region. Now, we will put up the polls on our X feed.
Just say Twitter. Right now.
And it's Twitter, yes. And then for the next 24 hours, you can vote.
Yeah, and we'll have your winners.
And we will advance 4 of those teams into the field of 16, the the round of 16, and we'll move on to the baseball region, our lower left hand of the bracket, tomorrow. But get your votes in. Go to our Ben and Woods X/Twitter page and get your voting started on our Tournament of Drops, which will, if I've planned this out correctly, get through the first round this week, start the second round on Friday. By next Tuesday, we'll be down to the quarterfinals. Wednesday, we get to the semifinals. And next Thursday, we'll have our championship match. And 1 week from Friday, we will crown the 2024 fifth annual Tournament of Drops winner.
And we're in studio. Well, we're not in studio Wednesday. No,
we will. Yeah, we can do this without being in studio.
Okay.
Right, Paulie? We can get Italian Paul or whoever's running the board to throw in a couple of drops.
So we'll be at the watch party on
Wednesday morning next week.
Morning.
After the game. Our show will be
checking
after the
in
game.
at the Rambler on Tuesday evening.
To get to
broadcasting
the
Wednesday
game
morning.
Wednesday at 3:05 a.m. And then we'll broadcast after the game.
My schedule all
around 6:30, 7 o'clock after Sammy's post-game show next week.
Okay. All right.
So that'll be, we'll be down to like the quarterfinals at that point.
Okay.
Or the semifinals,
All right.
actually.
Just make sure Italian Paul or whoever.
It's just two matchups at that point.
Yeah,
We'll be
two
fine.
matchups.
We'll
Easy.
be fine.
Beautiful. Well done on the seating. Ben, well done on the selection. Paulie, you guys knocked this out of the park. I just sit back and enjoy it. And I'm not in it. I'm not featured in it at all. It's basically the Ben show, which is fine by me.
Does that mean you don't say anything
of
drop-worthy
fun?
for 365 days?
It's not funny when if I said, I like it creamy, it's just not as funny as when you say it. I don't know what it is.
True.
Adam says it'll be him in studio, so Adam will take care of it.
Oh, Adam's going to be in studio.
Yeah,
I thought Adam was going to be playing Texas Hold'em the entire night.
Not on Wednesday morning.
Okay.
Yeah, he'll be here. He's staying. He said he's
going to pull
pulling
an all-nighter.
He
He's
said
going
he's
to gamble all night and then drive over here at like 5
He
a.m.
is going to pull the all-nighter.
He's
He's going to go to our watch party, but then he's coming back to the studio, bleary-eyed.
Why am I infuriated about that? Yeah, because
maybe go to bed early, get a full night's
we
rest.
have a show to do. It's not your fun night out at the casino. Like we are doing a show, and we have a show to do, and I need you dialed in. Don't miss anything, right?
Right.
I'm infuriated. This is I'm having to tell the boss how to be more disciplined about his radio program.
Well, speaking of Adam, this is peak Adam. Tune in every Thursday at 10 a.m. for 97.3 The Fans commercial-free Padres Roundtable featuring Ben and Woods, Annie and Elston, Gwen and Chris, presented by San Diego Roundtable Pizza. For takeout or delivery, go to roundtablepizza.com. Roundtable, the last honest pizza. Yep, starts this week, right? Our first roundtable after Thursday's show. We'll be here until 11.
Christopher said, how many times can you preview a season on Twitter? I said, at least one more time. That's going to be happening this Thursday.
It's different when we all do it together. Totally different preview on Thursday.
Totally.
All right, we are halfway home. We will come back.
Stole my line.
Tier 1 tour and more coming up next. Ben and Woods on 97.3 The Fan.
Now we're halfway home on a Monday. Ben and Woods, 97.3 The Fan. Great to be with you guys again on a, looks to be a fairly lovely Monday. I can't see anything. The shades are down, as they need to be here. But weird start to the week with the time change. It's
good the sun is finally up. I was worried for a while.
It messes with me every week and every year. And I know, it's different when you do the morning show. It's different. Like I look forward to the dark if it could get dark at about 3 would be fantastic. As I'm picking the kids up from school would be great.
You should try Alaska.
See, now that's too much. It's a little bit. I watched that movie Insomnia with Robin Williams. He plays a serial killer, and our beloved Al Pacino. And it's dark. It's light there. That's the place where it's light all summer. I would lose my mind. I need the contrast, but I like it dark early because I like to go to bed early. That's Paul Reindl. He's our executive producer. Good morning, Paulie.
Good morning.
You got Ben Higgins, your friendly neighborhood sports anchor and delusional golfer. If you missed that story, go back and listen at 6 a.m. He's
lost his mind.
He may need medication after what I witnessed on Saturday morning early. You can go back and listen. I'm not going to rehash the whole thing, but that's 6 a.m. You can use the rewind feature on your Odyssey app.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Padres will take on the Mariners today. Remember now that the time has changed here, but not in Arizona. Those games are 1:10 starts for the last few days of spring training.
1:10 here, 1:10 there.
I believe Yu Darvish is scheduled to pitch. It's been a bit of a Mike Schultz had to juggle a little bit in terms of getting his pitchers his work because of the rain out on Friday, and they had some rain earlier in the week. Michael King had to move around. So Yu Darvish is going to pitch today. Now, I saw a report that in 1 hour, both Mike Schultz and Dave Roberts will be naming their opening day starters for the first game at least, probably both games in Korea. The assumption is that Joe Musgrove is going to get that first start, and Yu Darvish will get the second start. But I believe Mike Schultz is going to say it one way or another. Sammy Levitt will join us, and we'll have an update from Padres spring training coming up here in the second half of Ben and Woods.
Tyler Glasnow and Yamamoto.
Yeah, it could go the other way, but you'd figure if Major League Baseball has any pull, they'd want to see the Darvish-Yamamoto matchup on the same day to get the two Japanese star pitchers going up against each other. I don't think there's any obligation for the Padres or Dodgers to, orchestrate their rotation to make that happen, but I would guess that the PR people at Major League Baseball would like to see that happen in the second game in Korea.
Yeah, I'll be interested to see what Dave Roberts runs out there, and it will be interesting to see a story that came out over the weekend. Maybe it happened Friday. When we were off the air, but the Los Angeles Dodgers have a new shortstop. Now, he's not new to them. He was their right fielder. He was their second baseman, and now he is going to be their shortstop. It's Mookie Betts, and I found this pretty interesting. Now, again, I woke up this morning at 2:30 and was laying in bed, couldn't fall back asleep. So I saw a little blurb about it. Bill Plaschke wrote something about it in the LA Times, and he does not like this move. Now, Bill Plaschke doesn't like anything. There's nothing that Bill Plaschke likes. Ben likes everything.
Dogs.
No. They're messy.
Ice cream.
You got it. It's too cold. It makes my teeth hurt. He hates everything. He is the guy, in my opinion, and he's a good sports writer, right? He's very old school. In his mind, he thinks, if there's a flower, I need to step on it, right? If there's something great, it's my job to be surly, and I have to pick this apart.
To challenge the powers that
Correct.
be.
And if I don't, people will think I'm bought off.
It's a writing tradition for sure.
It's a radio tradition for
Also,
sure. It's absolutely happens. It's performative most of the time. When you hear another show banging on the desk. Now, I'll throw a chair, and I mean it when I throw a chair. It doesn't happen as much as it used to, but it definitely does now. It definitely doesn't happen like it used to, but it'll happen from time to time. Bill Plaschke does not like this move. And I agree with Bill Plaschke. I think this is a weird move. Now, it is in the San Diego Padre fans' nature to feel hurt that national media did segments, hours, Ken Rosenthal, Buster Olney, just gratuitous shots at the Padres moving Xander Bogaerts off of short, moving him to second. Crickets. So I go this morning, and I pull up old Ken Rosenthal's podcast he did, Fair Territory, and I listened to the one where he talked about Xander moving, and all you heard was mismanaged, terrible organization, they don't know what they're doing, they're panicking, blah, blah, blah. And I went, all right. I mean, he's saying this stuff, and when I heard it the first time, I went, yeah, I mean, this is going to be the narrative on this. Then I go and listen to his most recent one where he talks about Mookie. You know what he called the Mookie situation? Well, it's a risk. Yes, it's a risk. 31 years old. You're moving him off of second base, which is it's still demanding, but it's less demanding than short, which is why they made the switch for Xander. We have a better shortstop there. What he didn't really address was how a team can spend $1 billion and still not know who their shortstop is a week before the season. Now, I know Gavin Lux has essentially a case of the yips. But here's the other thing. He's always had them. This is not a new thing. He's been yippy a lot of his career. And that's the guy they went into the season going, yeah, we're going to ride with this guy. And now Mookie is going to be the shortstop.
Well, the Dodgers have a great tradition of yippy, now second baseman, dating
Steve
back
Sax.
to Steve Sax. I always enjoyed that growing up, watching him throw balls. I think I almost got hit by a Steve Sax throw because we used to sit right behind first base at Jack Murphy Stadium in the third row. And
it was like nothing.
Sax was always an adventure over there.
It was like nothing you've ever
But
seen.
what bothers me is that, because I knew that same narrative about the Padres, what are they doing? Moving Xander, and do they have an actual plan? The Padres did something very, very logical.
That is a logical decision.
They put their best defensive shortstop
at
shortstop. They put another good defensive player, but not quite as good, on the other side of the infield in the middle, where they think he can also thrive. There really is nothing controversial about it, other than the fact they paid Xander so much money. And you can criticize the signing, but in terms of a baseball decision, it's actually a no-brainer to put Ha-Seong Kim at short and Xander at second. The only reason that you wouldn't is ego massaging, and worried about how Xander is going to react getting moved off shortstop, which is something you do have to worry about. But in terms of a baseball decision, that is an unimpeachable decision by A.J. Preller / Mike Schilt to put Ha-Seong Kim at short. You should always have your best defensive shortstop playing shortstop.
Ha-Seong King. Yes, Ha-Seong King.
The other side of the coin, though, is not true. You rarely take a guy who's been playing in the outfield and some infield, but on the right side of the infield, and at the age of, 31 now? Move him over to shortstop 31. At this point in his career. That is a very questionable baseball decision by the Los Angeles Dodgers.
What did Dave Roberts call it? Permanent for now?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm skinny but fat. Hard but soft. Very, very interesting situation happening there in Dodgerville. And again, maybe in Ken's mind, Ben, they're so good. Their offense is going to be so prolific. Their pitching is going to be so prolific that who cares? Who cares? They're basically they're just playing adult ball at this point. Let's move him to short and see what he can do. And Mookie came up as a shortstop. He played 14 games there last year. But I didn't see the same, oh no. If A.J. Preller spent $1 billion in the offseason, and he had his big spending offseason last year, and some needs weren't addressed, it was a national headline, and it was full segments every single day on MLB Network. What is the difference here? The Dodgers spent all that money. They did not get a shortstop. Mookie Betts is going to be their starting shortstop permanently for now, according to Dave Roberts. So it's a very interesting dichotomy between the two teams. Everything they do is smart. Everything we do is dumb, and because we're poorly run.
Now, do you wonder if the Dodgers end up needing a free agent shortstop next season? If they want to move Mookie back to the outfield or back to second base, if it's not working out great, Ha-Seong Kim might be the best shortstop on the market as a free agent next offseason. That would be tough to swallow.
That would be very tough to swallow.
Which is why I was glad to hear over the weekend that there may be some more optimism building in the Padres front office about an extension for Ha-Seong Kim. That's a tough one because Ha-Seong Kim has obviously played his way into deserving a big contract, likely a 9-figure deal, right? I mean, almost certainly over $100 million, depending on how long that contract is going to be.
Yeah.
That's a big commitment for Ha-Seong Kim. But he's played well enough and is good enough defensively and has shown enough offensively that he's going to get that. If he goes to free agency in the offseason, I think he's going to get that. So
does that concern you at all to have as much whether you like the guys or not, to have your infield completely locked up for a minimum of 6 years? Like, really no wiggle room at all?
There's really none. I mean, you'll have Manny, you'll have Xander.
You already got Manny and Xander.
Manny and Xander locked.
Jake's like 6
up.
more years?
Yeah. And then you'll have
I mean,
Ha-Seong
if Ha-Seong Kim gets a 6-year deal, which
like
is very
all
reasonable,
well, and
then you'd be talking about the better part of the next decade pretty much locked in.
Now, many will say...
Unorthodox.
many will say, well, that's great. Now you've got your core and you can add and subtract. But how much adding can be done, if you have 4 guys locked up on multi-million-dollar deals every single year? I don't know, man. I don't know the answer to that question. I wish I did. This is the corner that we have kind of painted ourselves into. And listen, there's not one of those guys I dislike and don't
100%.
expect great things from. It'd be really a bummer if there was a guy you really hated and they locked him up to a 10-year deal. You're like, I'm going to have to wear this for 10 years. That's not the case with any of the guys in our infield. I really, really like all those guys and think that they're capable of so much more than what we saw last year. But it is an interesting situation materializing with Ha-Seong Kim being a free agent, which, look, he is a better shortstop than Xander Bogaerts is, but I still, it's hard for me to imagine a scenario where he's also not being featured at shortstop for a reason. Does that make sense? Other than the fact that he's a good shortstop.
Explain that to me again.
Value. Raising his value.
Showcasing
him for a year.
Short.
Yeah. I mean,
why would the Padres want to do that, though?
To get more if they try to trade him.
Okay, so if they trade him at the deadline, they're building up his value at shortstop.
At short,
right. Okay.
Instead of second.
Because they can't trade him after the season. He's a free agent after the year.
Correct.
And the opposite to that argument is that if you want to re-sign Ha-Seong Kim,
move him to second.
You're inflating his value, and you're the
yourself.
one who's going to have to pay now for his inflated value on a contract extension.
And the other thing, too, is think about some of the guys they got coming up. We just moved our next shortstop prospect to center field, and looks like he's going to break camp with the team. Now, Leo DeBris is a few years away, but he is a guy that's going to be coming up. So if you sign Ha-Seong Kim to an 8-year deal, Leo, get ready to play left field, bud. You know what I'm saying? Like these are the every team, and a lot of teams deal with this. It's not just the Padres that do this. A lot of teams deal with this. We just seem to maybe overpay a little bit in the beginning.
If the future really is, and this is very early in the process. Jackson Merrill is just getting started. Yeah. Paulie, Marcy, these guys who are coming up. But if they are truly the future, where are they going to play?
Correct.
If you've signed everybody to long-term contracts?
Correct.
Are you going to be able to trade any of these guys? A lot of them have no trade clauses in their contracts. You're not going to be able to have spots for your up-and-coming minor leaguers if you sign everybody to long-term deals that are locked into San Diego.
This is a good one from Mark. Mark says, well, Manny or Xander will be a DH in a few years. Yeah, but you only have one DH position. So Manny and Xander, someone is going to have to learn how to play first or something else.
I could see Manny doing that at some point in his career.
I could too. It's a corner. He's the best, literally the best
smooth
glove
hands,
I've ever seen. It's just so good. He could pick it up tomorrow and be fine. Ken did mention he thought the better move for the Padres would probably have been to move Xander Bogaerts to first base, but we know how Xander felt about that last year, and we know that he's like begrudgingly going to second this year. So
and move Jake back to second.
Move Jake back to second. He's probably the better second baseman. And I laughed because again at spring training, there's that picture. I think Sammy took it of Cronenworth at second, giving Xander tips on how to play second. He's a second baseman. Like, he just put him at second.
Nothing's stopping you from putting him there other than...
Why? He's coaching him up. Just put me there. I know what I'm doing. He doesn't. Let's not, but listen, that's the direction.
Sometimes I feel like we undersell Xander a little bit. He's a good up-the-middle defensive player.
Absolutely.
He's an athletic, I mean, he likely will thrive at second base given a little bit of time.
I sure
Maybe
hope
we
so.
should just show some patience.
Yeah, for sure.
With Xander Bogaerts here for a little bit.
I'm down with that, and I wonder how much patience the Dodgers are going to show with Mookie Betts. If he goes out and isn't good defensively, what do? Do they put That's the thing is like don't they have Mickey Rojas too? Like if I'm the Dodgers,
but he gives you nothing offensively.
Who cares? You have Shohei Ohtani and Freddie and Mookie and all these other guys. Like put him in the 9 spot and have a good defender out there to back up your $1 billion pitching staff that you just signed. Baseball overthinks a lot of stuff, and I think this is one of those weird moves. I don't see why would you take an aging player and move him to the most demanding position other than catcher in the infield. It doesn't make any sense to me, but that's what they're going to do, and I'm all for it. I don't think it's going to go well.
All right, we're going to take a quick timeout. Tier 1 Tour is coming up next. It is time for the defending champions. The one thing that Bruce Bochy has still never accomplished in his career. Can he do it this year? Texas Rangers, our Tier 1 Tour, when we come back after a check of traffic with Bennett Woods on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. Tier 1 Tour continues, and we are starting to near the end of the Tier 1 Tour. We are in the AL West, and today we're taking a look at the Texas Rangers.
You said that with an accent, kind of. Texas
Rangers.
We're taking a look at the Texas Rangers. Was that on purpose?
It was not on purpose.
I want to talk about the Texas Rangers.
Bruce Bochy is a genius.
Pull that if you can, and we'll see if he did sneak a little Texas accent in there.
A lot of teams I've had to kind of Google, how did they do last year? I remember how the Texas Rangers did last year. They went to 90-72 in the regular season.
Did quite well.
And then ended up winning the World Series last year over the Arizona Diamondbacks. I think we all remember that.
Who had them last year as winning the World Series? I didn't see a soul having them winning the World
Surprises are good.
Yeah.
Kind of felt like they were still a year away.
A couple, yeah. Yeah, I mean
they had made some big moves.
They made some huge moves. They spent a buttload of money.
With the injuries that they faced and given the struggles they had the previous season, felt like the most logical outcome for the Rangers last year was a disappointing, maybe even sub-500 season.
100%.
But, of course, that does not count for the magic of one Bruce Bochy, who has done many things in his career, but one thing he has never done is win back-to-back World Series titles. Remember, he won every other year with the San Francisco Giants, 2010, 2012, 2014.
I wonder if he cares at all that he's never been able to put it together two in a row.
You know, if you're looking for one last challenge in a Hall of Fame career, you've never backed up your title, here's your chance,
done everything
Boch.
else. I mean, what a career for.
Now, of course, the Rangers have faced some of the same financial quandaries as other teams because of the uncertainty and loss of the regional sports network and the Diamond Sports issue. At least that's the speculation as to why they haven't been quite so aggressive, even coming off a World Series title in the offseason, with the biggest loss likely being Jordan Montgomery, who was a playoff superstar on the mound and remains a free agent and remains... At least most insiders keep thinking, I mean, we think he's going back to the Texas Rangers, but they have yet to reach an agreement with Jordan Montgomery, who is still a free agent. Now, they've got obviously some depth in the pitching rotation with guys Jacob deGrom and Max Scherzer, but neither of those pitchers will be ready at the start of the season. They're both targeting sometime in the middle of the season for potential returns, but you don't know what you get out of guys coming off an injury. So it is a pitching staff that's a little thinner than it was last season when they won the World Series title.
Got the projections on their win totals, Benny. 89.5 wins.
90 last year.
Yep. I think my hottest take is that the Rangers are going to not have a good season this year. I don't think they're going to have a good season. And I don't mean they're going to win 60 games or anything like that, but I don't think...
Miss playoffs?
I don't think they get that total. I don't know. I don't know what the rest of the AL is going to look like, you know? But I don't... the World Series hangover is a real thing. Bruce, as you know, Bruce Bochy, as you mentioned, experienced it every other year. It's a real thing. And now their young players have a World Series ring now. They're only going to get better. Evan Carter is a revelation. He's so much fun to watch. Simeon had a really, really nice year last year. It hurts them that Corey Seager is going to start the season on the IL. He just got cleared to take ground balls. So it's going to be a while for him. He had a sports hernia. That's something that could rear its ugly head again as well. But I don't know why. I just have that feeling that I don't think they're going to hit that 90-win total this year, Ben.
Their only real free agent additions in the offseason were a couple of very veteran bullpen arms in 37-year-old Kirby Yates.
Our old pal Kirby.
And almost 39-year-old David Robertson, both signed with the Rangers in the offseason for that bullpen. But the lineup is essentially, fairly similar to last season, the one that you saw win the World Series title. But now you'll have a full season of Evan Carter, Jonah Heim, Josh Young, guys with experience now under their belts. If you're making the argument for why the Rangers are going to be better, at least in the regular season, it would be because all of these guys have gotten now experience, playoff experience. Nothing's going to faze them, and you could see them having a good season all the way through based on what they did at the end of last year.
Sure. I think I kind of stand by that one as if I had to bet over under, I would take the under on 89.5 for the Rangers. The hangover thing is absolutely real for them. These are young players. A lot of these, and even the guy, like so many of them have never played that long into October. Even some of the veterans that they had been. So I just think I'm looking for them to take a step back this year. Nothing against them, certainly. They still got some really, really great talent, but still a lot of injuries too to be concerned about.
I mean, can guys like Adolis Garcia do it again?
I know.
It's
hard to bet against him, but
it's really tough because I can see it going.
Fun to watch.
I can see it going both ways. I can see them riding that confidence and momentum of the World Series into a 100-win season, and I can see a hangover and some injuries and some sophomore slumps that turn them into a fairly mediocre team this year.
It just surprised the hell out of me too that I mean, Chris Young is such a smart dude, such a smart guy. We thought he was going to be maybe the next commissioner of baseball. That's where he was kind of tracking in his career. He's so well respected. Still could, absolutely. Still very young. Now
he's doing what, 5 more years?
Now with a World Series ring on his finger, he'd be a great candidate here in a few years. But I was still so surprised that ownership, after winning a World Series, is it easier at that point to say, I know we lost our TV deal. We're not going to really do much to improve the team. Does that buy you a little more cachet with the fans? Or are they like, no, we want this again? I know how it is around here. We got that taste of playoff victories, and we're furious that we can't go out and sign anybody. And I get that, too. I wonder if it's a little easier to stomach winning the whole thing.
I think at this point they've lowered the bar a little bit, that if they do end up re-signing Jordan Montgomery, all the fans will run back and go, we're all in. This is going to be a great follow-up season.
It's so funny having grown up there. They've always been like the third fiddle. You know what I mean? Even with a World Series championship, I would say in Texas, obviously it's the Cowboys. And then number 2, I would say it's college football. Just in general, college football.
The Mavs, they've won.
The Mavs have won. They won a title.
Stars
have won a title. The Rangers are like a distant third in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, in my opinion. Even my buddies are like, buddy, they won the World Series. I'm like, you stoked for the season? They're like, maybe like August, September, I'll start watching. It's just not the same.
Just in time for Cowboys training camp.
That's exactly right. Yeah, exactly. But no, I think they take a step back.
All right, Paulie, are we set to be joined by Sammy in our next segment? Okay, I know
the clubhouse is still open for another 5 minutes.
So he'll talk to players. Mike Schilt isn't talking until close to 10, even though I was told that at 9 o'clock today they're going to announce the opening day starter. So I don't know if they'll do that early or if Mike Schilt will do that at 9:55 at the end of our show. Remember, Mountain Time, at least in Arizona, is now Pacific Time because they don't do the daylight savings thing. So it's 8:30 in Arizona. It's 8:30 here. And Sammy Levitt will join us in just a few minutes from Peoria when we come back with more Ben and Woods on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. The Odyssey app lets you jump back to the moments you missed on 97.3 The Fan. While you're listening, you can just see what you missed, click to listen on demand, and then catch up with anything like a guest or a feature or Ben maybe dropping a Texas accent. We're not even sure about this one.
I'm not sure yet. We haven't heard it yet.
I just pulled it.
All right.
We'll go right to the tapes. This was our last segment coming out of the Open for the Tier 1 Tour.
Tier 1 Tour continues, and we are starting to near the end of the Tier 1 Tour. We are in the AL West, and today we're taking a look at the Texas Rangers.
Is that J.R. Ewing over there? I can't see too well. What in the world? Texas? Yes.
And today we're taking a look at the Texas Rangers.
Texas.
And today we're taking a look at the Texas Rangers. Texas Rangers.
I was not trying to do that, I promise.
Texas
intentional.
It's one of the funniest moments in show history, I think.
Texas.
Holy.
The Texas Rangers. It just so happened that it came out.
Just get caught up in the moment.
Is it weird that your Texas accent has now reared its ugly head more than mine, who was born and raised there?
Spent a lot of
It's a
time there.
great night to be a Tiger. Me and my family.
Texas
I have new sympathy
Rangers
for Brian Kelly.
Sometimes you just get immersed.
Caught up in the moment.
In the moment. You can't help yourself. Texas. I really was not trying to do that.
That hurts my stomach.
I'm here with my family.
It's still one of my favorites.
It was Boston, Massachusetts, born and raised. Brian Kelly.
Boston, born and raised, and gets down to Louisiana and completely loses his
Well,
mind.
it's a great way to get started. And I haven't even won all my games yet.
Oh, my.
It's a great night to be a Tiger. I'm here with my family.
Oh, my
And we are so excited to be in the great state of Louisiana, but more importantly, to be with you great fans.
Oh, it's just the best. It's just the melding into character. Like, he's like the Daniel Day-Lewis of coaches. One of my favorite moments, and now we have...
Taking a look at the Texas Rangers.
We have one of our very own here on Ben Owens. I guess now you see it. It can't happen.
Yeah, you can always rewind with the Odyssey app. Just search 97.3 The Fan. Tap earlier today.
Can that be the play-in? Can that be the play-in drop, please? It's like the day
we're already compiling next year's field.
So now next year, that's in there. You have to wait 365 days to hear that again.
It's too late to make this year's field.
Save a horse.
It's like a movie that comes out in January. That's for next year's Oscars, not this year's.
Save a horse, ride a Ben Higgins.
All right, let's check traffic, and then Sammy Levitt will be joining us from Padres spring training in Peoria next year on 97.3 The Fan.
From the 97.3 The Fan Traffic Center, here's Kelly Danick.
Traffic is sponsored by Soapy Joe's. Too many accidents out here, guys. If you're having trouble losing that extra hours of sleep, imagine how you're going to be this afternoon driving home with the sun shining in your eyes. Okay, let's start with the North County southbound side of the 5 right at the eastbound 78 connector. There's an accident involving a couple cars. They're over to the right shoulder. And an accident on westbound 78 just past Jefferson. A couple vehicles involved. Looks like this one is in the 2 left lanes. Traveling on westbound King Freeway before 30th Street, there's a collision involving a car and a motorcycle. Does not appear to be blocking lanes. Crash clearing on the northbound 15 just past Friars Road. That's now in the center divide. And an accident clearing from the transition ramp northbound 5 right at the northbound 15 connector. Are you ready to suds up for a cause? Chief Bubble Officer Tony Gwynn Jr. and Soapy Joe's is bringing a whole new meaning to being a bigwig with their Soapy Bigwig campaign in support of Susan G. Komen. Visit info-komen.org/go-to/Soapy Joe to donate today. I'm Kelly Danick with Ben Woods, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
Did we just get another entry into the field of drops for next year? A Kelly Danick giggle in the middle of a traffic report? We're going to have to pull that one as well. I've never heard Kelly giggle like that during traffic.
So good. She's
like she's diabolical. She's the sun in your eyes this afternoon because of the time change.
So good.
All right, let's go out to Peoria, Arizona. Sammy Spring Training joining us. He's almost done with his sentence. It will be done in just a couple of days. Live from Padres Spring Training, presented by your San Diego County Toyota Dealers Association. We make it easy. He was just in the clubhouse. Sammy, good morning to you.
Good morning, gentlemen. Hope you had a great weekend. I'm very much looking forward to the tournament of drops. I know there was a lot of debate last year about the final results and Juan Soto winning, and Juan Soto's now no longer here. So I will be following along very closely.
Absolutely
No
terrible.
Sammy drops.
No
in
Sammy
our tournament
drops
of
this year.
drops.
We'll get some in. We'll get some in at some point. Sammy, how? So yeah, Ben just said your sentence is almost over. When do you come back?
I will return on Saturday
Okay.
after the spring breakout game on Friday afternoon. So I'll stay overnight Friday and get out of here Saturday, drive back, have a couple of days off unless Adam has some plans for me, and then we have the 2 games in Korea bright and early, 2 a.m. pre-games, and then we roll into everything going on at Petco Park.
God, you're so close. You're so close to the end. You got to be able to taste it, much like these
problem
players.
is, the end is just the beginning.
The end is just the beginning. It's a really good point. It's like, oh, this is actually like, it's pretty loose, and I'm traveling, and now you're home.
Congratulations,
and now
you've
you're back
made
on the
it
grind.
through to work 162 out of the next 180 days.
That's exactly right, man. And I always think about this time of year. It's torture for the fans. It's got to be torture for the players. They have to be so ready and charged up to get going. Now, there's still plenty of guys, Sammy, as you mentioned. I think on Twitter, a lot of good position battles going on right now.
Yeah.
But it's still, we're still talking about kind of fringe guys for some potential big spots. What's the hubbub around the clubhouse today?
Well, look, I think watching the games over the weekend, obviously, like you alluded to, a lot of guys are playing well, and I don't know that we have a ton of clarity in some of these spots, but it was interesting yesterday. I thought we got a little bit of clarity with Pedro Avila coming out of the bullpen, pitching 1 inning. That doesn't necessarily automatically take him out of the rotation competition, but you can read into it, and Mike Schultz says, look, it was a different appearance for a reason, so we'll see. Matt Waldron, Johnny Brito also continuing to pitch well. So there is some clarity maybe starting to form when you talk about the rotation. I think the area that is really unclear right now continues to be some of these bench spots. And that's for 2 reasons, I think. Number one, there's a number of different ways they can go as far as constructing a bench that has some different parts to it, that can play some different positions, and also the fact that guys continue to play well. That somebody like Tyler Wade is, I don't want to say come out of nowhere, because he's been in the major leagues for some time and he has a lot of experience when you compare him to some of the other guys, the bench options in that clubhouse right now. But he's had a really good spring, and I think continues to potentially play himself onto this roster with how well he's played and also his versatility. So that's a good example of somebody who has really come in here, competed for a job, and I think is close. Is definitely close to the Padres ultimately put him on the roster. We'll see, but there's a number of different ways they can go, and a number of guys that are making a name for themselves. So it continues to be a question as we head into the final few days of spring training here. But mood in the clubhouse, I would say pretty much the same as it's been. There is some packing going on. They do, they don't leave it all for the last minute, right? So you do have some guys starting to put stuff into boxes, and they've got to get all the logistics ready of getting stuff back to San Diego, but getting stuff ready for Korea. So it's a lot earlier in the month of March than you usually do this stuff, but it's about go time. So it's different for sure.
Sam Levitt with us from Peoria, and I know Mike Schultz not going to say it outright, but read the tea leaves. Jackson Merrill, your starting center fielder. Manny Machado is going to be your DH. He has just not had enough of a progression with his starting and stopping on the throwing. So that leaves you a starting spot at third base. You mentioned Tyler Wade. What's your kind of handicapping of the race to who's going to be out there for the first at least couple of games, or maybe even the first couple of weeks at third base?
Yeah, it's a great question, and I'll start with the lineup we saw on Friday before the game got rained out, and the lineup we saw on Saturday, which was the same lineup from Friday. And I did think it was a lineup that you could potentially read into with Profar in left and Graham Pauley, who continues to have a good spring, at third base. I think that's a real possibility. I also think the idea of Tyler Wade playing over there is a real possibility. Look, I'm not ruling out Iggy Rosario. I'm not ruling out Matthew Batten. Nothing's impossible, but I was jotting it down this morning. If you just want to go based on experience, based on what their springs have been, and their versatility, look, I think when you talk about the bench spots right now, if you're assuming there are 4 of them, to me, that the group of 5 guys you got to focus on Is it Zokar, Paulie, Wade, Sullivan, and then if you want to pick somebody like Mercado, who's had a nice spring and nice moments that we know can play some different outfield spots, put him in the mix as well. As far as third base, I would think, Ben, it would be somebody like Paulie or Wade. I mean, with each passing day, and again, you start reading the tea leaves of the lineups and how they've utilized Graham Paulie in spring training. You know, I think that's a real possibility, him at third base in Korea on opening day. I did read a little something into the lineups from Friday and Saturday. Is it impossible that somebody like a Wade could be there? No. Is it impossible that somebody like a Rosario could be there? No. But if I were guessing this moment, I would say Graham Paulie at third base, but that is obviously far from a sure thing.
Pretty wild, man, to think about the, potentially, I saw a couple of the mock lineups, potentially your 8 and 9 guys making their debut. And look, yeah. I'm hesitant to say, I fall right in the middle, Sammy, to be honest with you. They were doing, what was the segment they were doing this morning on MLB Network that we saw about Jackson Merrill?
Has he made his case to be starting center field, something like that?
The case is that we really don't have any other center fielders. He's also a very good, young, exciting prospect. No question about it. I'm excited. Am I allowed to be excited about seeing Paulie and Merrill, but also being like, oh, boy, oh, my God, we're really doing this?
Yeah, I think what is interesting about the situation with both Merrill and Paulie is that, the Padres don't have to do this, right? They don't have to take these young guys and put them on an opening day roster and start them, although with each passing day, it looks like that is more and more likely. They could just say, hey, Jose Zokar, you're going to play center, and
Profar and left.
Let's take Profar or Oscar Mercado, somebody else on left, and we're going to allow guys like Merrill and Paulie to get little extra seasoning for a month or two down in AA or AAA, whatever level they would be at. That has not appeared to be the plan from the moment we arrived, in particular with Merrill, right? I mean, we got here, Merrill was playing left field, he was starting, that quickly shifted over to center, and it's been like that ever since. So, I don't want to say Merrill's a lock until he's on the roster, but it certainly seems that way, right?
Does,
and
man.
It's certainly the vibe you get, and from what I understand, the Padres feel like Merrill is going to be able to handle it, right? And look, at 20 years old with as little experience as he has at the upper levels of the minor leagues, there at some point are going to be some struggles, whether that's early or at some point in the season. But the feel you get is that they feel he's going to be able to handle it and also handle the defensive side in center or left, wherever he ends up playing. Certainly looks like center at this moment. Look, the decision with Paulie is another interesting one. I mean, Mike Schilt talked about it a couple of weeks ago that, he essentially said, and I'm paraphrasing here, that if you have some young guys on the roster, you would preferably like them in spots where they're going to play, right? So I find it hard to believe that you would put somebody like a Paulie on this roster if he's not going to get a real chance to play, which is why I answered Ben's question with, I think if I'm a betting man, I'm putting my money on Paulie right now at third base, because whether it's at third or first or some outfield, he can play all three, although he hasn't played first base in an actual game. He's done it here in spring training. They may figure out some different ways to get him into the lineup, whether those guys can handle major league pitching day in, day out. That is going to be the major question. But, look, I think there's a feeling that they can handle it, but obviously there's a risk that comes along with that as well.
Saw a note, I think in the UT, that Mike Schilt and Dave Roberts were expected to name their opening day starting pitchers like at 9 o'clock. I know Schilt's not talking for an hour. Maybe that'll come in a tweet or something. I think we all think it's going to be Joe Musgrove. That fourth and fifth battle, though, we saw both Matt Waldron and Johnny Brito. They certainly didn't do anything to hurt their case, Sammy. Give me your kind of rundown of what you saw over the weekend pitching-wise.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think Waldron, I thought was really good. Brito, I thought was pretty good. Both got hit a little bit, but they found ways to limit damage and not allow runs. And Waldron's case in particular, guys, there's no way around it. He's had a really good spring. I mean, he's been really, really consistent. Johnny Brito, the last couple of starts after kind of so-so first couple of outings, has also been really good. And if you just want to compare it to Avila and Vasquez, to me, Waldron and Brito, if we're just going by spring training results, they've earned those final 2 spots at this point. Obviously, the Padres don't have to make those decisions right now, getting on the planes to Korea. But at this moment, to me, it would be Waldron and Brito. I definitely think there was something to Avila coming out of the bullpen yesterday for one inning, right? I mean, there's got to be something to that, considering he started his first 3 Cactus League games. The Avila situation is interesting because he's out of options. Does that mean he grabs a bullpen spot? That could be based on a variety of factors. Could be based on the option part of it. Could be based on, is Yuki Matsui ready? Could be based on, look, Usako has had some rough moments this spring. Is there more time they want to give him to get ready for the season at the major league level? There are a number of different factors in the Avila part of it. Vasquez is somebody who has options left, so, could he be sort of an odd man out when you're looking at the rotation and the bullpen? But right now, to me, if you're going on spring training results and not really thinking about anything else, I mean, Waldron and Brito have stood out, and we'll see how it all shakes out, because then beyond that, when you're looking at the bullpen, it's about performance, but it's also about just some of the individual guys right now. Is Matsui ready? Is Go ready? And kind of going from there. But it was good to see Yuki Matsui yesterday throw a live BP, came out of it really well. Seems like he's going to pitch tomorrow or Wednesday. You get the feeling that if that goes well, he should be available for the games in Korea. Can't guarantee that, but it's certainly trending that way. But it's still a work in progress as far as this rotation and this bullpen. And I think when you talk about the final couple of spots in this bullpen, depends on the readiness and the health of some of these guys, but also kind of what the Padres want to do in some of these particular situations with these arms.
Sammy, great job. A few days left, but we'll talk to you throughout this week, and keep us updated on everything that's going on. Thank you.
All right, guys. Thanks.
All right, Sam Levitt, our Padres pre- and post-game show host, joining us from Padres spring training, as he's done every day since he's been out there. Saturday, he gets to return to San Diego and then gets to start the regular season.
I bet he's so happy, though.
I think he's ready.
Yeah, you get out of there after.
Last couple of days will be weird after the team leaves.
He's just going to be.
And he's still there with the minor leaguers. He's calling that spring breakout game on Friday. And then he's coming home on Saturday. All right, we have 1 hour to go. We are the only sports talk show in the United States that hasn't talked about any of the football quarterback signings in the first
Russell
3
Wilson.
hours of their program. Paulie will hit, I think, some
Oddly
of that
enough,
in the
I don't want to talk about Russell.
I
Wilson.
don't either.
I got
Reindl
another one I
Report.
want to talk about, though.
Coming up as well is some ticket giveaways as well. Stick around. It's Ben and Woods on 97.3 The Fan. That was a little bit of a mind blower that Paulie just had for us. What was it, Baseball America, that pointed it out?
Yeah, yes.
When healthy, if the Padres start in the field, Jay Cronenworth, Xander Bogaerts, Ha-Seong Kim, Manny Machado, Jurickson Profar, Jackson Merrill, and Fernando Tatis Jr., they will have, at every position other than pitcher and catcher, a converted shortstop at every spot on the field. And I had forgotten, but Jurickson came up as a shortstop. Obviously, the rest of the guys were all shortstops, some more recently than others, some a few minutes ago.
The grand plan is
But
finally complete.
A.J. Preller's love of up-the-middle shortstops, who he believes, hey, if you're good enough to play shortstop, you can play any position on the diamond, will reach its logical conclusion where you have every position on the diamond in front of the batter covered by a shortstop.
Yeah, mission accomplished.
Bold strategy. We'll see how it
is it
plays
guarantee
out.
a World Series title? I don't think so.
No.
But
nothing does.
It's certainly the execution of a vision that A.J. Preller had for his organization.
Athletic. Very athletic.
Very athletic
Should be a very
team.
athletic team. Holy cow.
That blew my mind. Shortstops everywhere for the San Diego Padres.
If Jackson
we
Merrill
joked
makes the team
about
as
it.
a regular center fielder, the Padres could regularly field a lineup with a converted shortstop at every position.
We
other
joked
than
about
catcher.
it for years. Like, he's going to put a shortstop at every position. I always thought
finally happened.
it's still kind of a joke, though. I mean, Trent Grisham wasn't a shortstop.
Right.
They're not going to have a shortstop
Juan Soto
everywhere.
was definitely not
Yeah,
a shortstop.
There's not a shortstop everywhere. Literally. I mean, if he can find a catcher who used to be shortstop, it would be done. He'd have a shortstop everywhere.
I'm sure Sullivan. No. Yeah, but I'm sure Sullivan played short at some point in his
Probably
life.
somewhere.
Yeah, all these guys are pretty athletic. What'll be interesting on opening day, let's say that Tyler Wade is your starting third baseman, Ben, and then Manny is your DH. You'll then have a shortstop in every slot. What?
Surprise, surprise. As anticipated,
His
the Padres
face.
did make their announcement on social media of their opening day pitcher for their first game in Japan. And it is not going to be Joe Musgrove. It is going to be Yu Darvish, who starts the opener against the Los Angeles Dodgers for the first game of the season. So the Japanese pitcher in Korea will get the opening day start for the San Diego Padres.
Noted.
Mike Schilt zags when we thought he was going to zig.
Noted Ben and Woods fan. Yu
So
Darvish.
Tyler Glass now is going to start game one for the Dodgers, which makes game two Yoshinobu Yamamoto. So it won't be Yamamoto against Darvish. They have split up those pitchers, day one and day two. And I don't see if the Padres have named Joe officially the day two pitcher as the Dodgers named to both of them. They did.
They did.
Okay.
Yeah, it's official.
All right. So they will not have the all-Japanese pitching matchup in either of the games. They will be split up.
It's real now. All right, it's real. It's been announced. Your opening day starters.
I have no problem with you. Obviously, he certainly deserves it. No, you, Darvish, starting opening day. We did talk to Joe, though, about he was excited about the possibility of it, having only done it for the Pirates during COVID and never really gotten a true opening day start. Now, maybe they switch it around when they come back to Petco Park, but you'd figure if you starts the first game and Joe starts the second game, that you would also start the first game at Petco Park and Joe would start the second game, but that's not written in stone at this point. But that announcement is officially out. Yu Darvish versus Tyler Glasnow to open the season next Wednesday morning at 3:05, and we'll be watching it with you at 7 Mile Casino with our watch party.
Can't wait.
All right, we pulled it, so a potential entry into the tournament of drops.
Kelly Danick,
Danick,
missed
staff
it,
report.
right before Sam Levitt joined us.
Traffic is sponsored by Soapy Joe's. Too many accidents out here, guys. If you're having trouble losing that extra hours of sleep, imagine how you're going to be this afternoon driving home with the sun shining in your eyes. Okay, let's start with the North County.
That's evil.
Evil.
That's evil. Kelly's definitely got she's got the wicked side to her. No doubt.
And someone didn't secure their load of gravel.
That's in the tournament this
She
year.
is amazing. Save it for her. So good. Let's get to it.
All right, time for the Reindl Report.
And get things started here with our today's edition of the Reindl Report.
Now tuned into the greatest.
Welcome to the Reindl Report with Paul Reindl.
Hi, Paul.
All right.
2 stories from the world of sports that we haven't gotten to yet.
We'll start off in Major League Baseball.
And 1 story that you didn't know you needed.
Are you laughing, biatch?
It's the Reindl Report
Hey, Paul, how you doing? Okay, how are you?
on 97.3 The Fan.
Are you ready to bless the mood? I need some help, please.
That was good.
Can I get a yeah? Oh, yeah.
All right.
All right. Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning.
Yeah, we teased it. I just really couldn't care less about Russell Wilson and his 1 year. Is it reported or is it official? I don't know. Nothing's official yet.
It can't be official until Wednesday at 1 p.m. Yeah. That's when free agency begins.
He will sign with the Pittsburgh Steelers. He Wilson with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now, they have Kenny Pickett. He'll also sign for a very reasonable...
That makes their quarterbacks Wilson Pickett.
All right, that's not bad. That's pretty good. I'll give you that. Wilson Pickett. Yeah. That's really good.
Land of 1,000 answers, right?
Yeah. So they do... Give me some... No, that's... Who's that?
Give me some love. And Spencer Davis.
Spencer Davis.
Wilson Pickett's Land of 1,000 answers. Na, 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 na. Na, 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 na.
Do they have a third quarterback with the last name Phillips?
Oh, Wilson Phillips.
Wilson Phillips.
They could
Wilson
probably
Pickett
find
Phillips.
one.
Hold on for one more day.
I don't really...
Russell Wilson, I will agree with you guys, should not be as big news as he is.
Yes, it is.
He's fine now, but he's not the Russell Wilson that won a Super Bowl with Seattle.
Right.
He's not terrible. He may or may not be the starter in Pittsburgh. Generally, the news about a potential backup quarterback is not leading every show everywhere.
This week was like, oh my God, Russell Wilson signing in Pittsburgh. I'm like, all right, on
remember,
a 1 year
Denver's
deal.
paying him $80 million to go away. Yeah. If that doesn't tell you what Russell Wilson's value is right now, I don't know what will. He's just not that exciting as a quarterback.
I mean, the NFL, they're good about marketing their product. And if you noticed over the weekend, like I did, I was like, I cannot believe I'm being inundated with a guy signing a 1 year deal after some middling seasons in Denver. The worst trade of all time in NFL history. I mean, it's news. It's mentionable for sure, but you don't need an Adam Schefter 2-hour breakdown on Russell Wilson potentially being a backup to Kenny Pickett.
Well, I was much more interested and excited for the other big quarterback news of the weekend, and that was with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Yeah.
Baker Mayfield,
good for him,
agreed to a 3-year contract for $100 million in total. He's going to get $50 million guaranteed. And for a guy that had a lot of hype, maybe at first didn't live up to the hype, wasn't the savior that the Browns wanted. They're never going to find him.
It's like Ben thinking he can beat Sugimoto.
Yeah, it's just
never
delusional.
going to
It'll never happen.
Right.
But, man, for him to go through the ringer and have a bounce back in his career with the Bucs and now get that payday.
Get rewarded for it.
I thought that was great. I thought that was a great story.
I love an athlete who can bet on himself and then cash in. And Baker Mayfield signed a 1-year, $4 million deal last year.
Yeah, man.
With Tampa, which is not nothing, but it's like a prove it deal, and he's parlayed that into $100 million now from the Tampa Bay Bucs with $50 million guaranteed. Pretty good season last year for Baker Mayfield.
I would say so. Saw another story over the weekend. Interesting story here in college basketball. I'm reading from Front Office Sports. They had the scoop here. So there is a new early college basketball tournament in the works, and it's going to happen in November, which is typically the time like the Aztecs play in the Maui Invitational every couple of years. There are tournaments.
They have like a rotation. It's like Maui Invitational, and then they do the Continental Tire one, which they did this year, and then they do the other one in Hawaii, and then they do the one in Orange County, the Wooden Classic. And that's been their rotation the last few years.
Yeah, so there is a new tournament coming to Las Vegas this November. It's called the Players Era Tournament. And it's going to start with 8 teams this year, and then their goal is to expand to 16 teams in 2025. And the whole tournament is centered around NIL money. Each team that participates in the tournament will get $1 million in NIL money that they can divvy up amongst the players, and then the winning team of the tournament will get an additional $1 million. And as I started reading that, I go, oh, that's interesting. I'm sure every school will want to play in that tournament. And then it says here on Front Office Sports, according to sources with knowledge of the situation, tournament organizers are in discussions with Alabama, Duke, FAU, Houston, Kansas, Oregon, San Diego State, St. John's University, Syracuse,
St. Joe's.
and... Huh?
I got St. Joe's.
I got St. John's.
This one says St. Joe's. That's weird.
Syracuse and Virginia.
What if that was a typo?
So this seems like an easy win potentially for Brian Dutcher, who, of course, doesn't have the biggest NIL, budgets in San Diego with the boosters.
Some of those names, again, Alabama, Duke, FAU, all tournament teams, Houston.
Yeah. If he
number one team in the country.
If he can lock
Kansas.
in an extra $1 for his players, that's pretty much more than the entire team gets for the season. So what a great deal that would be.
I mean, what would that look
for
like?
San Diego State?
What do you got? 12 guys on a team?
Yeah, I mean, in college, depends on the walk-ons might not get the same
most,
amount.
100
Yeah,
full share.
$1 million divided by 15.
Let's see, $1 million divided by 15. I should be able to do this in my sleep.
You should, actually. I'm a little surprised that you busted
I could have put it in a calculator. I thought you could just do it, Ben.
$66,666.
Nice.
That's not bad.
Not bad for a weekend's work.
No. So I'm curious to see how that plays out. And I actually have me and Megan are going to Vegas in November, right around that same week. If we can get the Aztecs out there too, that would be a lot of fun.
That'd be a dub right there.
All right, and finally, I got a restaurant in Chicago selling a bowl of soup that I think Ben Higgins might be interested in.
Do you like soup?
I like it when it comes with a hat.
Is Caddyshack, Joe?
Yeah.
You like a
So you like a
free bowl of soup?
For a free bowl of soup. Yeah.
This is an odd joke you just made.
Yeah.
It was very odd.
This is very mud. I thought it was mud. I was trying to channel like mud on that one.
Well, I'm asking you a legit question. Do you like soup?
Of course I like soup.
You do?
Yeah.
You don't like paying a lot of
Tomato
money for
bisque
soup,
is
though.
good.
Isn't that just tomato soup?
No. It's bisque. It's a little richer, a little more cream added to it.
Which you do like it creamy.
I do like it creamy.
Yeah.
Good soup. I like a tom kha,
Oh no, I like it creamy.
Thai coconut soup.
Okay.
One of those are very good.
What's it called?
Tom kha.
Tom kha. Okay.
Yeah.
What else?
Lobster bisque is good.
Delicious.
It's very rich.
Dip a little bread in there.
Oh man, the grilled
so
cheese
hungry.
tomato soup combo is so good.
I don't even like tomato soup. I would guzzle a vat of it right now. I'm so hungry.
What do you think of clam chowder?
Delicious.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Both styles. I like them both. Manhattan, New England. Doesn't
Matzo
matter.
ball soup.
What's the difference?
I had it once. One is tomato based. The other one's a cream based. A lot of cream talk this morning.
I'm not sure how much cream you'll get in this bowl of soup.
All right.
So a restaurant in Chicago. It is called the Colonial Room is the restaurant.
Okay.
And it's within the hotel called the Drake.
Oh, the Drake is
Oakbrook.
old school.
Okay, you know
Old
about
school.
the Drake.
I didn't know there were two Drakes. The Drake Oakbrook.
Yeah.
I'm
And
gonna look this
they
up.
are selling a bowl of soup for $1,893.
Well, that's an oddly specific amount for a bowl of soup.
It's just a bowl of cocaine. Is all it is. Just one big bowl of. How
Let me
much
see.
a
Why
gram?
would it be 1,893? Is that like it was founded in 1893 or something? That seems weird.
It was so they have a regular bowl of soup on their menu. It's called the Bookbinder soup. It costs $10.
Okay.
And that was created by Samuel Bookbinder in 1893 over in Philadelphia. So that's where the $1,893 price comes from.
You could have just done $18.93 too.
Well, it's going to cost you a lot of money because it's the massive, luxurious upgrade to the regular Bookbinder soup. It's made with a super rare, so Louis XVIII cognac.
Yep.
And the regular soup comes with just a regular dry sherry. You get a sniffer of the spirit as well.
Okay.
And then it says it also features Osetra caviar and red snapper from the Gulf of Mexico, which is flown in fresh for every order. You need to order this bowl of soup 2 weeks in advance minimum.
I'm coming. I want the soup.
You cannot just look at the menu and go,
I'll have it.
Do you also get a week
$1,900?
in the hotel for this with this bowl of soup as well?
And of course, the soup is garnished with gold flakes.
I like that you get a snifter of Louis Trey with it. That's pretty good. $1,800.
You ever had any Louis?
I have had a sip.
You
a
have.
A tiny.
I've never even tried it.
At a when I was a bartender. So they let everyone have like a
has that crystal top.
It's the coolest bottle, but it's like not even a thimble full, like a quarter of a thimble.
I mean,
you know what it tasted like? It tasted like cognac.
There's the good stuff, there's the top shelf stuff, and then the Louis is like
sits up top,
way above. You need a ladder to get that thing down.
Really
if you,
good.
no one, did anyone ever order it when you were a bartender?
No,
never.
Not when I was there. I know that other guys have sold shots of it and stuff, but no, I never did.
I worked at a bar and
tastes like
restaurant.
cognac.
Not a big cognac guy.
Pappy Van Winkle.
Yeah.
But nobody really ordered it.
No, it just sits there.
Because they charge too much for it.
I would like to talk about soup more.
Well, soup is I mean the idea of soup is it's an inexpensive dish,
right?
Like you take smaller, like very little meat and everything, and you water it down to make it less expensive and go further.
More of it. Like the Bucket family with their cabbage. They just ate cabbage soup to make it. There's what 7 of them.
Yeah, you
gotta
last
make that one
a little
head
longer. You turn it
of
into
cabbage
cabbage soup.
That's exactly right. But look, what about canned soups? Are you a fan? Because not
really.
I love it.
Chunky, it's a good, easy.
I used to eat chunky soup
lunch.
a lot. I haven't had it in a while.
Chunky
sirloin burger.
Oh yeah,
chunky
with the
soup.
little grill,
with the little tiny grill marks on the little.
Oh man, who's that guy back there on the grill doing 75 million little hamburgers? I would murder that stuff, dude.
Trying to shed some lbs. I've been getting the cans of the Progresso Light.
Okay,
and
I don't mess with the
chicken
light
noodle or whatever, chicken rice.
So here's what I do: if I get the light soup, because I would get the light chicken noodle when I'm sick, and then what would I do? I would eat it and go, ugh. I'll just add salt to it. It's defeating the whole purpose.
Alphabet soup?
Never liked it.
No.
Never. I don't.
It's
I
just
like
chicken
straight
noodle
up. I know
alphabet-shaped noodles.
Straight up chicken noodles. I like the
stars.
Nope. Don't like the stars. I just eat the nudes.
I find canned soups are very salty. If you like salt, it's good, but it's a little too salty for me.
Oh God, I would eat a can of soup cold right now. That's how hungry I am.
Don't mention that. That's fine. All right, Reindl Report. No, how hungry you are.
I'm starving.
It's not good for the advertising purposes.
Oh, fair enough.
You'll be fine. Give it a couple more days.
Yeah, I feel great. Well, I'll just have some water. Let me just have some water.
So free agent pitchers, could be some good news actually for guys like Blake Snell and Jordan Montgomery. Some injuries, at least injury concerns for a couple of big market teams. Plus, what was Blake Snell doing on social media this week? And he's still trending on my Twitter feed here. Snell trending, 4,195 posts. What's going on with Blake right now? Get to that coming up after a check of traffic next year on 97.3 The Fan. As I get older, it becomes more and more difficult to follow along with the youngins' social media. What was Blake Snell posting this weekend? Just eyeball emojis?
Yeah, the old Adam Klug special.
And everyone assumed that meant something, that there's a signing imminent.
Yeah, that's basically what it means. Is I keep your eyes open because
Could mean anything.
Some news is coming down. Now, knowing him, he unlocked like a new Fortnite shield or something, and he's very excited, if that's even a thing. Who knows with him? But it's what happens when you are announcing something. You know, that's a standard. It's pretty standard announcement coming, right? So something should be. I've heard a lot of Angels rumors, and now though, with the news that broke this morning out of New York, I don't know how realistic that is. The Yankees tweeted this morning: Garrett Cole is going for an MRI, Ben, on his throwing elbow, his pitching elbow, and he's just not recovering very well, is what Aaron Boone said.
According to Brian Hoke, covering the team, the Yankees do not expect to have a prognosis for Garrett Cole today and possibly not tomorrow either. According to Aaron Boone, there will be multiple opinions given regarding his course of treatment. Not good language, though, if you're a Yankees fan.
No,
you're counting on him as a top starter.
Probably a rat.
They also saw the Cubs were worried about the back of Jamison Tyone. But again, another team that has been fairly cautious in their spending this offseason, even in a big market.
Well, the other thing too is the Yankees, I think, are already paying like $50 million in luxury tax. So, hey, you trade for Juan Soto, you trade all of that pitching that you traded for Juan Soto. Aren't you forced now to go all in and go get? If Cole's. It's rarely good news when the guy goes to get an MRI on his elbow, and you don't know if it means 6 weeks, you don't know if it means 6 months, you don't know if it means a year and a half for Garrett Cole, Ben. But aren't you have to go for it.
I know that Blake Snell would never cheer for injuries for fellow players. He's not like that. I don't know whether Scott Boras feels the same way, whether it's
I guarantee
whether he knows injuries.
Now, they're both Boras clients.
That's true.
Somebody said maybe he said, hey, can you fake an injury, and then we'll get him in, and then you say you're fine, you do a PRP shot, you're good to go.
Once you sign the deal, though, you can't get out of it.
100%.
They just need to create some panic with a team or two to try to drive up some pitching market here. As we, it's March 10th, it's 11th, it's March 11th. There's no way Blake Snell or Jordan Montgomery is going to be ready for the season, even if they sign today. Even if they've been throwing on the side.
No.
You can't reasonably expect either of those guys to go until at least a couple of weeks into the regular season. Now, I'm not saying that there isn't a lot of value there and teams wouldn't still be delighted to have Blake Snell for 5.5 months of the year. But at some point, it's also going into the equation of a GM going, all right, you're asking for this, and now I'm not even getting a full season out of you because we've waited so long to sign you. That's working against Blake Snell and Jordan Montgomery at this point, this late date that is impacting, how much pitching you're going to get out of them.
Bro, how many teams have needs for a frontline left-handed starting pitcher, and they're still
the reigning Cy Young winner,
and they're still on the sideline, and the guy that was so dominant in the postseason, So I feel like if any team wanted either of these guys, they could have had them by now. And it's a weird offseason. It doesn't make sense to me. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say about it other than how many times we say, oh, so-and-so's hurt. Oh, the Red Sox just lost Giolito. They're going to go get Monty. And I have heard it as a possibility, but why? I mean, you're a fifth-place team really with Giolito. Why would you go out and spend money? It doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't seem like it would be a difference maker for a team like the Red Sox.
I mean, look, I'm not trying to side with the owner here, but as the owner, you'd be like, why am I stroking this check for a Jordan Montgomery if we're, in Beantown today? Why am I doing that? Because we lost Giolito. We're a young team. We've got, young players. We're developing some guys. I realize you got to put asses in the seats too, but does Jordan Montgomery do that in Boston every fifth day? I mean, why am I writing a $250 million check for him?
Congratulations to the San Diego Legion. Got their first win of the season yesterday over the Dallas Jackals, 30-23. Right now, we've got a pair of tickets to give away to the SD Legion home opener this Saturday against Rugby FC Los Angeles. Saturday, March 16th, Snapdragon Stadium. You can get your tickets now at sdlegion.com or be the fourth caller, 833-288-0973. 833-288-0973 will hook you up with a pair of tickets to head to Snapdragon Stadium this Saturday. Now, Snapdragon was sold out yesterday, had the women's game. We can talk about that coming up. You also had a Seals game on Saturday night. A busy weekend on the local sports scene.
Yeah.
We can get into some of that in our final segment of Ben and Woods as we get you ready for Annie and Elston.
Oh, yeah, breaking-ish news.
San Diego?
Yeah.
And some breaking news, basketball news.
About par for the course.
Well, Basketball Ben is about to have some...
I'm going to take off. I'll see you guys tomorrow. It's been a good show.
Some news of North County interest as well.
Go get some work done.
Coming up next year on 97.3 The Fan. We'll be right back.
Got a lineup for you, Benny. If you want to hear it.
Give me the lineup, because this lineup seems like it could very well be the opening day lineup. And I know we've said that before.
4 times in the last week.
I know we said that before, but this one makes a lot of sense.
We're running out of material, Paulie. Ready for the
making an observation.
Ready for the regular season.
We'll say it again tomorrow.
Yeah. Oh, this could be the opening day lineup. You want to hear it?
Yes, I want to hear it. Yes, I definitely want to hear it. Thank you.
Leading off, playing second base, Xander Bogaerts. Leading off, which I like. Fernando Tatis Jr. in right, Jake Cronenworth at first, Manny Machado, the DH, Hassan Kim at short, Graham Pauley at third base, Luis Camposano catching, Jurickson Profar in left, Jackson Merrill batting ninth in center field.
Yu Darvish on the mound, which makes it a complete, now that they've named Yu Darvish as the opening day starter, could make it a complete replication of the Padres' opening day lineup against the Dodgers. And why this one makes sense to me, and you're probably going, well, why did they put Pauley ahead of Campusano? Campy's had a good camp. He's got more experience. The way they have split up the lefties, so it goes righty, righty, lefty, then righty, lefty, righty, switch. No, wait, hold on. I've got to go back to it again.
You're doing great so far.
Was I doing right? I don't have it in front of me.
I got it. Righty, righty, lefty, righty, righty, lefty, righty, switch, lefty.
And then back to the righties at top.
Yep.
So a team that really doesn't have a ton of left-handers, or at least we didn't think had a ton of left-handers, that lineup gives you at least the option of splitting up your righties, never having 3 in a row in any part of the order, if you set it up that way with Xander and Tatis at the top and Cronenworth hitting third.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, this is, if you're a left-handed stick, this is the team for you, because that's where you're needed.
A lot of opportunity.
A lot of opportunity here.
But now Merrill and Pauley and then switch hitting Profar are all left-handed, which does in Cronenworth. So that does give you pretty much half your lineup can hit from the left side.
That's exactly right.
You're never going to have more than 4 or 5, one way or the other. That's as balanced as you can be.
2 guys have never played in the big leagues before. The other guy is Jurickson Profar, and the other one is Jake Cronenworth, who is now in a position in the 3-hole to hopefully drive in some runs potentially. But yeah, it's not my favorite Padres lineup of the last few seasons, to be sure. But let's hold reserve judgment until we see what it looks like. And I don't mean today. I don't mean today in Cactus League play.
Tomorrow and just rip them.
Nope. Just want to see what these guys look like, and it'll all play itself out over the next couple of months here, and we'll hopefully won't be in here lamenting the fact that there were guys out there that could have probably helped this team, and you didn't sign any of them.
All right, we got some breaking news involving the San Diego basketball scene. We will get to that right after a check of traffic here on 97.3 The Fan.
From the 97.3 The Fan Traffic Center, here's Kelly Danick.
Wrapping up our morning drive with a problem in the North County. Just north of the 78, westbound lanes of San Marcos Boulevard are blocked off due to a major injury accident. Traffic is being diverted to the eastbound lanes of San Marcos Boulevard. This is, again, just north of the 78. I'm Kelly Danick with Ben & Wood, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
Ladies and gentlemen, from Pomona College, 6 foot, what, 5? 4?
3.5, really. I'm starting to shrink.
Do you want me to do your weight? Do you want me to do your weight too?
No, I'm fine.
They don't do weight.
They don't do weight.
6'4", 265.
In NFL, they do sometimes, but not in the NBA.
Ben Higgins.
So this had been rumored a little bit, but apparently is going to be officially announced later today. Seen some tweets. This one is from Arash Markazi. He said, not only are the LA Clippers moving into their new $2 million Intuit Dome after the season, but now their G League team is moving into a new $100 million Front Wave Arena in Oceanside this September. It's official. The new Sockers Arena that's being built and will open in September will also be home to the San Diego Clippers. They are going to brand them as they used to be branded here in San Diego. Their G League, which is essentially the AAA team for an NBA team, for the Clippers, will be playing in Oceanside at Front Wave Arena.
How do you feel about that?
I think that this is the best level of basketball we've had since the Clippers have left. You've had a number of semi-pro teams that have tried to make some waves over the years. None of them have really stuck around. Now, the G League is obviously not the NBA, but players on two-way contracts will go up and down and will play in the NBA and come back down. And I would say if you're a basketball fan, this is definitely an exciting bit of news for you, especially in the North County.
You are a basketball fan.
I am.
Paulie's a basketball fan. Neither of you are super excited about this. Is it because it's the L.A. Clippers? Is that...
No.
No?
It could have been the Spurs,
just the
G League team. It's just the G League. Who cares? It's minor league. It's nothing. Yes, you are right in saying that it is the highest level of basketball since the NBA was here, but it's also true that it just doesn't do anything for me.
Okay.
I don't have any interest in buying a T-shirt of the team and hoping to get tickets a lot of times.
I think my kids will like. I think Bo will be excited. He loves basketball now. Basketball Bo.
The Clippers are a very logical team for San Diego fans to root for, with Kawhi Leonard on the roster and probably there. For,
you tell me
some
Kawhi's
years to
playing a
come.
rehab start in the G League, which doesn't happen. It's not like baseball.
Yeah, they don't do that. Way. No, they don't do that.
Almost never.
My son, who is a Clippers fan, is going to be very excited about this. He follows the G League level.
Did he do the bit with you? You were a Laker. Did he do the I'm going against my dad
Probably,
thing?
because we both cheer for the Padres, obviously.
Yeah,
so
that's
this
true.
is a chance for us to be on the opposite ends of it. I don't hate the Clippers. I've never hated
you liked
the Clippers
them when they were here.
I cheered for them when they were here. But, with my family ties, I was always a Lakers fan. I think this is so there's two ways you can look at this. Yes, it's good basketball. It's great that the new arena has another tenant and more sporting events coming to San Diego. This also kind of ices out the San Diego for future NBA. Not that we had great prospects right now, but just like the Ducks having the Gulls here, feels like they've been trying to keep the NHL out of San Diego. Like, hey, that's our market. We got our minor league team there. Let's not put an NHL team.
Sure.
The Clippers are now going to be, hey, no. We don't want an NBA team competing with us in San Diego. That's where we have our G League team. That's our market down in San Diego. And they're trying to put their hooks and make it as though, well, you can't put a pro team. And we keep seeing this where minor league teams come into San Diego and it feels like they're shutting out the major league teams from ever coming back here.
Yeah, I mean, as far as needle moving, for me, it doesn't move my needle, but I don't really watch the NBA either. So, I mean, but if there was an NBA team here, I think I'd probably get behind that. But good for the arena that is looking to get some people in there, and I'm excited to see what that looks like.
NBA team comes to town, I'm buying season tickets.
Yeah.
NHL team comes to town, I'm all in.
It's
the minor league stuff for me. I just don't care.
I want to do PA for a NHL team so badly. So badly. I feel like I could do it now with 6 years under my belt for the Seals. I feel like I could do.
Yeah, you're an arena PA announcer.
Well, not NBA though. I don't think I could do NBA, but I think I could do
NBA. I'll do NBA. You do the NHL.
Be just burned out all the time.
It'd be fun though.
It would be.
It would be a lot of fun.
It would be.
How did your Seals game go
Amazing.
on Saturday night?
Incredible win. It was one of the chippiest, most violent games I've ever seen.
Halifax.
The Halifax Thunderbirds.
That's Nova Scotia.
Like the middle of nowhere, frozen tundra, and they played like they'd been pent up. They are the dirtiest, cheapest team full of goons that I've ever seen in my life. At one point, there were 3 guys in the penalty box next to me, and they're all screaming at the ref. It was unbelievable.
I mean, now that I've had some experience in professional lacrosse, if I was ever offered, would you like to sign with San Diego, or would you like to sign with Nova Scotia? Halifax, Nova Scotia. Gotta say that the appeal of San Diego would probably draw me in.
That being said, though, they're mostly Canadian, so they have to do the long.
That's true.
You'd have to do the long trips all the time. But man, it was great, great win. Excited for the next home game because you know what happens after the next home game? Bret Michaels plays a concert, and I'm elated. Bret Michaels from Poison.
Post-game concert?
Post-game concert, 6 songs or something after the game is over. Stick around and watch Bret Michaels go out and hopefully play all of his...
Play the hits, or is he going to get some...
So I'm curious as to this. This is all right, this is one off my new record. Damn it! I need Fallen Angel and Unskinny Bop and Nothing But a Good Time and all those great ones that I grew up with. I love you, Bret. I don't want to see new Bret Michaels. I don't. You know what I mean?
I know what you mean.
I don't want it. You only have... Okay.
But, I mean, it makes it worthwhile for him.
I get it, but...
It doesn't do much for him just to keep playing the old songs over and over.
He's on a regular national tour where he plays for, let's call it an hour and a half. He's only doing 5 or 6 songs. Give me your 5 or 6 hits. Don't be... I wrote this one a couple weeks ago. We're going to try it out tonight. I'll lose my mind. You might see me walk out.
What do you think of Every Rose Has Its
One of my
Thorn?
favorite songs. Wrote it in Dallas, Texas, in a laundromat after he found out his girlfriend was cheating on him. He wrote that song.
Is she the rose?
Just every rose has its thorn. Yeah, she's the rose, and she had a thorn. And it's just one of my favorite songs. So he'll definitely do that one for sure. And he'll do it last, so I'm going to have to sit through the new songs to see it. But I'm here.
Speaking of a Pechanga Arena, Sockers won last night 10-3 over the Empire Strikers. Their new arena. They're going to be sharing it with the Clippers G League team. Of course, Craig was there calling that game, which means he didn't get to call the Snapdragon Stadium Women's Gold Cup final, which also happened yesterday. Sold out crowd, over 30,000 at Snapdragon Stadium. And Team USA picking up the 1-0 win over Brazil. Was a bit of a choppy tournament for the United States, but they ended up prevailing in the first ever Women's Gold Cup, 1-0 with the win yesterday at Snapdragon Stadium.
Breaking news here from the Padres.
Some Padres news.
Yeah, more
Padres
Padres
have just
news.
made an announcement.
We got Padres have optioned infielder Matthew Batten to minor league camp, reassigned outfielders Cal Mitchell, Jacob Marcy, and Tim LeCastro, infielders Mason McCoy, and catcher Kevin Plawecki to minor league camp. They now have 37 players remaining in Major League camp. Manny Machado breathes easy this morning.
So that
Made the
means
cut.
there's only 6 other guys who won't be going with them to Korea because they're taking 31 with them to Korea. Jacob Marcy has had a decent spring, but you can't possibly see them having
Can't you?
Paulie, Merrill, and Marcy all as 1/3 of the starting lineup,
7,
all
8,
making
9,
their
baby.
debuts.
7, 8,
I mean, I'm
9.
sure you saw the stat. And then LeCastro, McCoy, Plawecki, Sullivan seems to be a little bit ahead. If there is going to be a third catcher, it was probably going to be Sullivan. Cal Mitchell. So who's left? That means Oscar Mercado's still there battling for a non-roster spot.
Drew Thorpe is still there.
Drew Thorpe as a pitcher is still on there. The guy they just signed, Brad Miller, and
still on
Tyler Wade is still there,
Yep.
competing for a spot at the back end of the Padres roster. Still have Eggy there as well as a possibility. So yeah, interesting final moves here as we get closer. And by the end of tomorrow, they got to decide. I mean, it's not like if you're leaving on a plane for Korea Wednesday after the game.
How do they tell you?
I don't think you show up Wednesday morning and the manager says, "Hey, did you pack for Korea?" It's like, "No, you didn't tell me." Well, you better pack because you're leaving later today for Korea.
I mean,
I would imagine that at least by tomorrow, Mike Schilt has to let everybody know, "Hey, you're going to be coming with us to Korea tomorrow."
I hope they film some of these. You know what I mean? I like to see when they, like Jackson Merrill, I want to see how Schilt lets him know he made the club and is going to Korea and all that. I think that's some of my favorite content in sports every time. But yeah, like there's guys lurking around the clubhouse like, should I, any idea if I need to pack or should I just come in tomorrow with a regular bag?
Somebody just walking, "Hey, Skip, I got my passport here. Just let you know.
I'm bringing a big
Ready to go."
bag. Like, what are we doing here? So, any surprises there for you?
I'm
not surprised about Marcy at all. I'm not
No,
surprised.
not
I'm
really.
not surprised about Plawecki.
Cal Mitchell, I thought might have still been in the race for a final spot, and Batten has been on the big league team, but he's not had a great spring, so you figured that move was probably coming as well.
Somebody, East County Chris said, LeCastro does everything right, and he's fast. He booted one, pretty easy one yesterday, out there and right. I like him too, but doesn't really surprise me all that much. He is a good bench piece. I mean, yeah, that's fine. He missed the ball in his glove, so it happens.
I mean, one play is not. They're not making decisions on one play in one game in a spring training game. It's a body of work. It's a lot of the impressions they had before they got to spring training as well.
Absolutely.
Are playing a role in many of these decisions. As they should. If you're simply going by, well, this guy's hitting 287 in spring, this guy's hitting 284, we're going with the guy hitting 287. That's not how it works, and that's not how they should be doing their job. There's many more factors that go into determining a roster at spring training than just how you performed in the cactus.
It's going to be interesting, man. Yeah, Thorpe not sent down. I really like him.
Yeah, we didn't even really discuss him with, Brito and Waldron looking like maybe they're taking the inside track, but if Thorpe is not getting sent down, they must really be considering, I would think, a starting role. I mean, you haven't seen him doing the bullpen stuff yet, so if they're going to take him, it would presumably be as a starter, and they're going to want him to get his work, so it sounds like they're very much still considering Drew Thorpe in the starting rotation here just 2 days before they leave for Korea.
I like that dude a lot, man. Everything I've seen from him, I really, really like. So that'd be interesting, depending on how they choose to use him. If he ends up making the squad, would be incredible. Because I don't know how many people had him penciled in making this team, Ben, when they acquired him. But everything I've seen has been incredible. So big fan of Drew Thorpe's, and there's still a couple names out there. Guys are going to be sweating it a little bit the next couple days.
I want to talk tomorrow too about a trade, because there's almost always a trade.
Yeah.
AJ Preller usually pulls one off near the end of spring training. He may need to pull one off, possibly just to avoid losing guys, that they don't have room for on the 26-man roster. If like Avila is out of options and you don't have a spot for him, you might look to trade Avila before the deadline, just because you want to make sure you get something for him. So will there be a trade coming for the San Diego Padres? If it's not a blockbuster, what do you think it might look like? I want to talk a little bit about that tomorrow, because it would be very weird for A.J. Preller to go the entire spring without really pulling off a deal. Has he pulled off has there been a trade this entire offseason involving the San Diego Padres?
Well, there was. Did you hear
Juan Soto
Soto
was traded.
Well, after that one, but yeah, that's a good point.
You asked if there was a trade.
Okay, fair enough.
Other than Juan Soto.
Other than the Juan Soto trade, I don't think there's been any other trade since then, has there?
No.
Did we not acquire? It's middling player.
Maybe.
I'm trying to think. I can't remember of any. The tier ones will let us know. They like to let us know where we're
They
on.
do,
Let's see.
which is great.
Matt Carpenter.
Carpenter was traded. Yeah.
Who did we get for him?
Cash.
Soda machine. Cash.
Not much.
Saw him yesterday. Was watching yesterday.
And Ray Kerr. Yeah.
Was watching the Cardinals.
Well, we got rid of Ray Kerr to have them take Matt Carpenter.
They're like, man, Carp's been raking this offseason. I almost flipped a table in my house. It was
Feels like there's probably at
How
least
about
one
Ryan
more deal
Weathers
coming.
is
Ryan Weathers.
the best pitcher in baseball all of a sudden.
Josh Bell absolutely mashing right now.
All right, well, there's plenty for Annie Elston to discuss.
Barlow
They
was
are
traded
coming
for
up
Daniel De Los
next.
Santos.
That's very early in
So
spring,
they've had
yeah.
like 9 trades.
All right, we'll be back tomorrow at 6 a.m. Have a great rest of your Monday, everybody.